There's Doug. There's no way.
There's no way on his timing to choose to go to the toilet than now. We're going to proceed with the intro regardless. Good evening, everybody. It's 7 p.m. The long-awaited show is here. Welcome back to TPSBTAIFOBTJA. Things people should be talking about in Formula 1, but they just ain't. And we are joined by our ghosted guest, Dougie Falcons, and our co-host, Mr. Nange.
Well, I'd love to hear from Dougie, but he's picked a great time to quickly step away.
Right.
Yes.
Dougie's Dartmaster, what did you expect? It's a great time for Dougie to step away and go to the toilet. So everybody, welcome in to our first show. We have some fantastic sections to come for you today. We're going to be recapping, obviously, what happened with the previous Grand Prix, going into some of the news that we've been receiving this week, some of the questions that you guys have been sending in over on Twitter and on Discord. I'm sure Nan just got loads and loads of questions from his community as well.
I have plenty of very interesting questions. I can't wait to actually tell you, because I think we're going to either spark some debates or we're going to get some.
I think my feelings may get hurt some way along the way here, because we're obviously going to have to talk about one of the main talking focal points of the triple Honda DNF. We will get into that later.
Guarantee.
But I will be getting my feelings hurt. We're not too sure still what's going on with Dougie. His house must be burning down or something. Because right, so I've had his camera up on the right hand side of my screen for probably 15 minutes, and he's been there the entire time. And literally, it was about 15 seconds before we was about to go live. I saw this man leap for faith out of his chair towards his door. I don't know what Dougie is. I think he's on the ropes already. But he jumps up pretty swiftly up out of his chair. But yeah, let's get straight on into the show. What should we kick off with, Nange?
I guess we'll kick off with just going for the weekend. So we'll give Doug.
Oh, there he is!
I see him back on the
Hold on. Unmute. He's muted. He's still muted.
Professional podcast series.
He's unmuted.
I'm so sorry. I'm a good podcast. Hello.
Right, so now we can get our introduction from our special guest, who was caught short, pinched. I saw him leap for faith out of his chair 10 seconds before we was about to hit the live.
Because my mom called me, and I was like, okay, let me get this, and then I'll come back. And then it was like a good 2 minutes. Anyway, sorry, I apologize. Anyway, sorry.
We got there. We proceeded for it.
Anyway, I'm Dougie Falcons. I'm Dougie Falcons. I stream on Twitch apparently, and yeah, we're just gonna vibe on the.
If anyone on my Twitch does want to check out any of our special guests, please do ! Guests, ! Nange will take you over to their socials as well to check them out. They are fantastic streamers in the F1 community as well. Don't miss out on them. I do wear glasses, right? Chat's currently pointing out that I have shades on. Right, let's ignore my shades. Look down here.
I wish my stream could see Dougie's shades. I wish they could see it.
Get his Discord call up. Display cap him. They need it. He looks like the most B-Tech Elton John I've ever seen. It is amazing. I love it. It is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the compliments. I love them.
I can't pull off glasses like that.
I was only wearing these glasses just because it was so sunny today. And
it was a fantastic day today, to be fair, going out.
Yeah, it was.
Right. So what was everybody's thoughts on the previous weekend as a recap? Obviously, I am physically and mentally damaged coming out of that result as the raving Red Bull fan. But I think it was sterling for Ferrari. I don't know what you guys feel about that.
I think we should start. Let's start with quali and the thoughts after that. So
right, let's go.
What you was thinking just after Saturday, and you'd seen all the results. Because for me, I saw plenty of surprises. I saw stuff I was expecting, Ferrari and Red Bull at the tip top.
Yeah.
But I saw a lot of cars. Bottas beating George. I mean, where do you want to start with?
The first surprise was for me was seeing when Bottas. I think the initial time he managed to set was a P2 time, and I just saw him up there. But I did see him slowly drop back. But it was just so fantastic to see how much of a package Alfa Romeo brought to that qualifying and given Bottas. Like, I'm chomping at the heels to see what he's going to pull out of that car this year. I really am.
I personally think the biggest surprise was Haas. I think everyone caught that one off guard. I mean, like, we were looking at this like in testing when they did like the fastest time, and we were just memeing it, thinking, oh, like fastest time. But
K-Mag.
The pace was actually genuine, and that was like for me a pretty surprising thing to happen.
I think even Mick managed to convert a pretty decent position out the Haas as well, considering where Magnus ended up, even with the extra experience. But I think both of them converted well.
I think my thing I was most shocked of came, other than Valtteri and stuff and the Haas's and Alphas doing well, was probably immediately in Q1 when there was a McLaren sat fairly low down in Daniel, and then in Q2 the McLaren was still sat fairly low down, and I was like, yeah, it's realised now. I know where they are. It was pain. That's what happens.
I mean, like, you could argue that the McLarens, that probably was like their bogey track. Like, they were struggling through testing with their brakes, we know. And Ricardo did have COVID and he missed a lot of running. So it could be the fact that because Bahrain is such a heavy braking circuit, we come to Jeddah where it's like the complete opposite. It's all about fast corners, it's all about less braking, all about like engine braking and stuff like that. It should help them. If anything, this should suit the McLaren, what we saw in testing in Barcelona, and they might come up the field. We'll have to wait and see, though.
Did you think we saw the full potential come out of the Aston Martins, given that Nico Hulkenberg was also one of the fill-ins for Sebastian Vettel? Do you think we could have seen more come out of one of those Astons, given Vettel's experience in the race and in the qualifying? I personally think that maybe could have had a little bit of a better conversion from the Aston Martin. I don't know if they are really lacking this year, but I've really heard nothing about them in terms of anything to write home about that they've produced yet.
This is what I think. Like, I've been seeing. I thought initially there was like level. I still think they are level with like Alpine, Williams sort of pace maybe. But I think more Alpine than Williams maybe. But I generally think that pace might have just been it. I think Nico Hulkenberg did a great job off the back. I saw him beating Lance Stroll's times or matching them fairly enough in qualifying. I was like, okay, either Lance Stroll's a bit off right now, or Nico's still got it after a year of a gap every time. I just think that may where their car is right now. Maybe.
I was almost heartbroken on seeing Nico Hulkenberg's first outlap in the qualifying though, when he immediately locked up, straight into turn one. The first thing he did was lock the car up. But the amount of cars that were just locking up due to going into turn one, I was noticing like there was quite a bump in the track as it sort of goes up towards turn one. It goes up a bit. And it was like that they were really experiencing a lot of bumping and getting unsettled under the brakes and just locking up going into turn one and really overshooting it every time. Like I saw Mercedes do it so many times. Even there was a lot of teams locking up through turn one and just getting so unsettled. Even the downhill turn 10, many lockups. All of the cars were struggling.
Yeah, if we I agree, like with all the bouncing, the porpoising didn't help, and then obviously because Bahrain is such a naturally bumpy track, it just kind of made the cars look like terrible, to be
worse
honest.
Than they are, do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, like, did you watch the race? Like the race.
Yeah.
I'm jumping a bit, but the race, like, they look so slow at the first like 5 laps. I was watching it. I'm so used to watching like the 2020 cars and 2021 cars.
It seemed slower this year. They seemed so sluggish.
They all look like F2 cars at the start, and I was just like, are we watching going on? But
this is the thing I've seen as well, how like the cars watching them characteristically, like last year's or the last whole generation, looks like so nimble, even in a slow speed. Like you can tell it's obviously slower corners, like Bahrain is full of those, but they still look like they're carrying a lot of speed through. But it was painful to get used to. They just look like they're coasting every single slow speed, and it's, I don't know, maybe this track's just exaggerating it because of the type of corners we have. I think, like Dougie says, when we get to Jeddah, they'll really look like they're on rails, and they'll think, okay, these look even quicker than before again.
Because they're like the downforce is going to be a lot sort of higher going into Jeddah. So
to be fair, the characteristics of these cars are meant to be like, they're meant to be insane in the high speed and terrible in the local speed. So there's lots of slow speed corners in Bahrain, so that's probably why they didn't look as good. But
I'm looking to see how these cars perform in a rain qualifying. As even Pirelli don't really know sort of stopping distances or how tyres perform really that much, because there hasn't really been that much data to go of hand. Haven't really seen it firsthand, but I'm quite looking forward to the first wet qualifying to come out of those cars. Or any sort of wet weather for them cars. I cannot wait to see how they perform.
Depending on where it goes, I'd only assume that would... See, I'm still obsessed with the fact that slow speed just looks awful, which is intended. They know it would have been, but like that alone, if it's wet, every apex speed is just going to be lower. So it's just going to be how much you can not struggle with that side of it, I guess. But I think we're going to see quite a variety because of like how a car is going to drive, and literally the order of the teams, I think might shift drastically each track to track, and that's not even thinking about car development, which is going to be
there
crazy.
is some sort of like another rookie going into the Jeddah circuit as well, and all of the new car characteristics for the qualifying. It's a different kettle of fish, so it could completely switch up next week as well, and you could see completely different cars heading the pack going into the qualifying.
This is why each race this season, if for anyone who's like fresh into F1, is gonna be insane, because someone might watch one race in a year and think, okay, they've seen these teams at the top. The next race, it could be completely switched. Someone else looks so much stronger, and you're like, oh no, these are the top ones. I don't think we'll have a set order. I want to even say at all, even.
Yeah, it's kind of got like that 2012 vibe where like there's no one strong team at the moment until we figure out until like halfway through the season. We know who the actual
and then we get into the last race and there's 7 cars tied for the World Drivers' Championship. Oh my life.
Yeah. Things I would love to see.
It has
Someone pointed out in my chat as well that Jeddah will be like suiting these cars a lot due to the fact that it's, like we're saying, that the high speed
ground effect.
Yeah, we are going to see such a different sort of race.
Another point I wanted to point out, even in the qualifying, I noticed this, that the whole time they were saying about this regulation change, they were promoting this closer racing. We're going to be seeing closer racing. They're all going to be together. Where was it? What race were they watching or planning this for? Close racing. There was a 40-second gap by lap 5.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when you make a massive regulation change, there's obviously going to be a humongous gap. Like 2014, for example, was like what? Just a Mercedes.
Miles.
And they were miles ahead of everyone.
If anything, the end of the season last season is closer than they are now.
I mean, yeah, of course, yeah.
There'll be close racing once we get the cars close, but everyone is just so far off. I'm saying that I don't know if the field spread even looks that big. I just feel like everyone's struggling with so many other stuff. Like we say, the order is just not set, but is the field spread not slightly closer between like the fastest and slowest car between this year and last year?
I feel like if you were going off of paper how they performed in qualifying and stuff, but when you like watched it throughout the race, I didn't feel like there was that much of like close racing that they were really talking about, like where they were just like nose to tail for the entire race. Like they all broke out in a DRS clumps as they usually do, but then Bahrain is DRS train. So
yeah, I didn't tell too much difference with that as well. I get. We'll take some time, I guess. I mean,
I'm hoping like by like we get like 4 or 5 rounds into this that there is going to be constant battling every single corner, like we saw Max and Leclerc, like where he was sending the dives like 3 laps in a row into turn 1, and then a few laps later it was gone. We wanted that for the entire race. Just feeling that.
Yeah, that would have been great.
I think they kind of overdid the regulations though, because even though they are easier to follow, they did struggle with a lot. Every team struggled with the brakes, but like following another car, I feel like their brake temperatures were just shooting sky high, and I think that they could follow close, but they couldn't go for a sustained long period of time like they whatever did, but they were hoping for. So if they maybe opened up the regulations and have like better brake technology, I don't know, whatever it may be, I think it will probably make the racing way more interesting. I think the Leclerc-Verstappen fight would have happened way more than just 4 laps if they had, the braking. I mean, Verstappen was complaining about brakes all Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And then obviously his hydraulics
steering
starting to like bung up, and then obviously the engine failure at the end. But yeah, it would have been a great battle if they could have followed a lot more better than with the braking and stuff like that. But that's just...
I think this is just like classic F1 where we fix one problem and then we've realized or remembered that even if you can now follow for this one, you can follow closely, which probably is true. I do believe that will be fixed. I've seen like a few times when I saw a couple of cars close, it didn't really seem like they were too bothered. But now I remember all the other issues where no one's going to run cooling, like a light at all. They're obviously going to close it up as much. So if they get too close for long, engine's going to overheat. Brakes like max. I think I heard GP say on the radio that like they limited amount of times he could attack for until you have to back off because
an unbelievable tire deck. Unbelievable tire deck. I've never seen box strategies like that in my life. We've seen 3 stops and all sorts.
Bahrain typically is.
We saw Lewis pit from softs to medium, softs to hards, and then mediums again. And then what did he go? He changed tires again towards the end. Or even
he did. I think what Merckx messed up their strategy, didn't they? Because they were like, oh yeah, well we have no hope, so we'll just go medium hards and see if we can just
go to the end. Yeah, that's what we all expected. We all thought Perez was going to jump in on the strat, but no.
Yeah, those hard tires were on ice when Lewis first came out. And it's like, there's no need. They're so far off the pace. Just get them off. I think.
Is that the new tire temperature blanket?
Yeah, that's the new tire temperature things. They lowered them so it'll make them a bit less grippy, and then it took a couple more corners for them to heat up. But in F2 they completely got rid of the blankets, haven't they? And that's why they struggle for like an entire lap, and then but that's what F1 are going to do in like 2 or 3 years time or something like that. So yeah, with Mercedes they just messed up the strat completely because they could have just went on the mediums or softs again, and then probably would have been closer. I don't think they would have. I think the 35 seconds was a bit too much because I think they're probably about 20 seconds off the lead rather than 35, and then but even then that's still a big gap for them to close to Ferrari and Red Bull, so we'll have to wait and see.
So Beast has said they lowered the front temperatures and the rears are still the same apparently.
I think I think that is, I heard, I don't know about how much, but I think it's one's being lowered by, I don't want to speculate a number because I'm going to get this massively wrong, but one has been lowered, like one axle.
Dougie,
don't know about how much.
Do you know?
Go on, Dougie. You know the stats.
I don't know the reg. I don't know the reg for tire blankets.
Damn!
I'll be honest, because I forgot they changed that to this year, and I remember that they're going to change it in 2026 or something. They're completely getting rid of it. So this is like their transition period to them getting rid of it. So.
Right. What was you about to say there, Nange, before?
I was going to say what the thoughts on the actual tire straps, not the tire straps, sorry, I've moved on from that, sorry. The thoughts on the actual grid order right now. I want to hear what you think it is at this moment in time after that.
What after, what like how they're going to be finishing?
Maybe not like, maybe not like the whole like order of who's quickest for every team, but like the top 3, like what do you think the differences are between Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes? Because I've got some thoughts on how I think Mercedes are definitely looking like the 3rd quickest right now, I think. But I don't know by how much, because I feel like until they can start unlocking, I can see an Alfa Romeo or Haas if they have a good weekend.
I can see a Haas, yeah. I can definitely see a Haas.
Them and being the 3rd first. I think the gap's bigger right now. It's bigger than we think to the top 2. But yeah, so I was just wondering what you thought about like that order sort of thing.
What do I think? So I think probably obviously it's Red Bull and Ferrari top 2, so it'd probably be like a 2/10 gap. I mean, like. It could be a 2/10 gap between Red Bull or Ferrari, depending on track.
Yeah, that could definitely switch around as well, yeah.
And who knows how good the drivers can be on that day. Like Verstappen, as we know, when he's actually good on his day, he can be like 4 tenths faster than everybody else. So it depends on them viewed on that day, and it could be that, and just what track dependent is the Ferrari on. So, but I think so.
For me, unless Ferrari, like I doubt Ferrari doing anything fiddly like before, but that car is so quick. It looks amazing. I didn't expect a Ferrari to be up there, but yeah, it's definitely got the best package so far with what we've seen coming into Bahrain. So yeah, it's probably about the same as Dougie, 2-3 tenths ahead of Red Bull. But then again, it's driver dependent. I haven't seen like really anything amazing out of the Red Bull yet. I saw a few laps from Verstappen, but then it's unreliable. But yeah, they're still 2nd in my book, but I don't think Mercedes are 3rd. I think that's probably either Haas or Alfa looking pretty good. I want to put my eggs in a different basket for once, and hope that another team will bring in a package. But then obviously I'm going to put Mercedes 4th. But I think in about 3 races time, that Mercedes is going to make an absolutely drastic improvement. They always do. They always do. They're just it's teeth. I honestly still personally think it's teething issues as well. Because like Lewis Hamilton doesn't often he's lied about the sandbagging before and he goes in, but you don't see him perform that bad in a bit of kit for a while. Like he is a really consistent driver. He is one of the best drivers to ever step into one of them cars. But he's clearly struggling with that car. So I don't know. Hopefully he can get the best out of it and they can convert it because I want to see a battle at the top again. I really do.
Am I the only one who doesn't? That like as much as I am, I'll happily admit I'm more siding on a Mercedes McLaren fan as myself. But as much as I believe there is a quick car in that Mercedes. I believe it's there to be on at least somewhat on point with the Ferrari and Red Bull in some time if they don't jump ahead with their development. But I don't know with how quickly everyone's going to actually develop if they'll be able to catch that gap in time to be. Maybe they might catch it to be level, but by that point, Ferrari and Red Bull might have such a big gap they might not even get to that.
Because it still looks like Mercedes are working out teething issues of that side pod.
Yeah, they haven't really gone. Although they know what the issue is, they haven't said we know how to fix it. We just said we know we're looking at it. So I don't know if they'll get it sorted. Someone might jump them, like you say, Haas or Thingy might be good if they just have a solid package for half a third of the season. They could just generally be the third quickest.
I reckon it could be a mix-up. Yeah.
I think Mercedes will probably fix their problems in like 2 to 3 races. To be honest, I think their issues are relying on just the porpoising only, really, and they know. I think they think they know that they could fix it within 2 to 3 races. But
they sound too hopeful to me. They sound. I mean,
I don't think they sound confident.
I think they sound really confident, to be honest, because like they've been like saying, "Oh yeah, we'll fix it within 2 to 3 races," and they'll take these like they'll take this until Imola, and then we'll get there, and then eventually win, I don't know, Imola or something. But no, Mercedes, I think they'll probably just run away with it. Once they actually fix all their issues, I think that car is going to be insane. And then we're just going to be like, okay, well, these regulations are terrible, aren't they?
As soon as we see dominance, like, oh, what have you done? You've done nothing.
Mercedes dominance? How could you? On the 2022 regulations? Nah, we can't have that. But nah, I think it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to see how Mercedes are gonna like adapt, especially if Red Bull. But the thing is, like Red Bull, Ferrari have a good track record on developing their cars. Like if you look at the past, like 17, 18, they've had a good track record. The problem was reliability and driver dependent stuff. So yeah, I think it's gonna be tough for Mercedes to catch up to them. But when they do, I think it's just gonna be really, really close.
It's maybe more just me. Like I think it's mainly because I'm a fan. I'm more thinking, I'm downplaying every single thing. But yeah, because everyone else are probably like, yeah, Mercedes will figure it out. But I'm cautiously like not as optimistic as everyone else that it will fix quick. It will get fixed.
I hope this season.
Issue, but yeah,
I hope the season doesn't turn into a poking war towards the end again, and just the teams just trying to scab the other teams out of getting them into trouble. It's just like telling the teacher on each other towards the end of the season. It was awful last season. It was like every race we was looking out for someone poking each other.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to go on to as well because of the fact that last season there's obviously Merc and Red Bull absolutely at it. I mean, we all know in 2021. But I don't like the idea of now every technical innovation, if anyone's suspected of cheating when it might just be a good idea, it's instantly sort of, instead of, okay, fair play to that team, they've done well, let's now make our own version or something. It's just get that banned, protest that, get it off there.
Who's it that said that back in the day? It was like, instead of rising to the technical directive, all they can do is go and report us.
Red Bull.
Yeah. Oh, right.
And they were the same team that are also wanting DAS ban. They wanted like check rear wings, check flexi rings.
But I'm not. I completely agree with that. As a Red Bull fan, I hated it because it was like every time as a Red Bull fan, like the first thing you get poked about is like the runnings of the team, which is obviously out of I'm just a fan. But same as everybody else that feels that way, like it shouldn't be part of F1. Like the team shouldn't be constantly just trying to get each other. Like Yeah, there's like, yeah, are they cheating? Are they not cheating? But it's literally like they're trying to poke each other into throwing each other under the bus every race to get an upper hand at the end of last season, in my opinion. And like Jeddah last year, I was genuinely embarrassed to be a Red Bull fan. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I don't mind the accusations of cheating. I don't think any team.
Yes, Wilson.
Other than the Ferrari 2019 engines and stuff, which I need an answer for desperately, like, if that ever would come out.
That's not.
But
we can
other
dream.
than that, I don't think a team genuinely has ever tried a cheat or something on that level. It's only just been stretching a regulation to think, okay, let's do this, which I think is fine because I think that's how you get.
Unless you go way back and you get the teams putting like lead shot in their fuel and stuff like that. That's
it's gone at the times we're getting outrageous styles of stuff like that. I think we'd just let the teams carry on, praise them for thinking outside the box.
Yeah, like
I mean, like Das, for example, like that was a very good idea.
That was amazing. Amazing idea.
And they banned it.
Within one season.
For one season, it didn't make any sense because it was just like it didn't gain any time advantage. All it did was just help the tires warm up in safety car restarts, and that was just a genius idea. I don't know why that was ever banned, but
yeah, it's weird.
But yeah, Red Bull didn't like it, and they protested it.
Yeah. Mate, I'm gonna have to get this out now. I've been saving this.
It's pain. We'll see, because I mean, this year definitely the development race is going to be outrageous. So I'm guessing we're gonna have alongside that a lot of people just complaining someone's done something illegal.
Yeah,
we're gonna hear it a lot this year. I think we would be sick of it by come Abu Dhabi at the end of the year.
Right. Yeah. Another thing I have to say: do you agree that Abu Dhabi should be the last race of the season? Personally, for me, right, I think it is the most boring race of the season to sit there and watch. I only watch it because it's the last race of the season, and I only watched it last year because it went down to the wire. But if it was any other year, I always miss the last Grand Prix just because I think it's so boring. So with the track mix-up, changed it immensely when I watched it this year. So next year,
do I think Abu Dhabi should be the last race of the season?
Yeah. Do you think Abu Dhabi should still be the last race of the season, or do you think it should be another track like Brazil, for example?
I know my answer immediately. But
or, in my opinion, it should be Silverstone. But obviously, weather falling, Britain, rain lot, cold weather, But yeah, I don't think Abu Dhabi should be the last race of the season.
I want to play devil's advocate and say yes, it should be the last race of the season, but I kind of agree that it shouldn't, because I really want to do that card, but I can't, because it's like it isn't a great track, no. And I mean, if it was in another place in Abu Dhabi, sure, and they made the track way better, sure, but they spent like what, nearly $100 billion fixing that track.
Yeah.
So it
all they did was bank a few more roads, like.
$100 billion, and that's what they come up with. And yeah. And
then you got the one that's going on at Melbourne is massively better.
Someone suggesting Jeddah as a final race of the season.
Well, no, because Jeddah's changing his
Jeddah's not. I forget to even remind myself. Jeddah is technically temporary. Jeddah's
a temporary circuit.
And I'm not liking the idea. I won't go into that now. We'll wait until later on. But the other track that's coming in, I forget where it is specifically in Saudi, but I
can't. Apologies.
The layout, I'm already going to dislike. Maybe I'll wait until that comes around. But yeah.
Someone said in chat they should get India back.
India.
Yeah. Was that ever a Grand Prix?
It was.
Their international circuit, yeah. Vettel won 20.
Yeah,
2011 till 13, I think. It was a generally nice track, but I don't really know what.
I don't even remember it. Yeah, I don't remember it at all.
India, yeah.
It was a pretty nice one.
Vettel won his 4th championship at India.
That was his.
I was young.
That was where he bowed down to the. That was India. No, I think India was okay. It wasn't special though. There was no I know Vettel dominated every single Grand Prix, but I can't remember if there's anything interesting about that track. It was just there. I mean, and the reason why it's not there anymore is because of tax. So tax avoidance reasons, and yeah, I don't think we'll ever see that Grand Prix there again.
Yeah, on the Abu Dhabi thing, I don't like the Abu Dhabi layout. It's too. I just don't know why. It just doesn't work for many reasons. I don't mind it being on the calendar. and the changes they made improved it a bit. I still don't like the track a lot, but it's better. I know they pay obviously to be the season ender, but if they could ever wangle their way out of that contract to say just go on the calendar somewhere and maybe bring an old classic like Brazil back as the last one, that would be my best scenario I can think of. But I think the money will never, until Abu Dhabi doesn't want to race there, I don't think it's leaving as anything but the last race of the season.
Yeah, I think it's too much money there for them to. It'd be probably the circuit that cuts the tires, not Formula One, if it did happen.
Yeah, I think Abu Dhabi will probably be the last Grand Prix, and I don't know when. If they ever decide to go to like Vegas or something, maybe that will be the last Grand Prix. I mean, I think realistically, it will probably be a permanent feature, whether we like it or not. I don't mind. I actually don't mind Abu Dhabi. I think it gets a lot of hate just because it's the last race of the season, and it was kind of. And Brazil used to be the last race, the traditional last race of the season when it wasn't, but it was for a bit, and then
it's almost like anticlimactic in my head, I guess. Like you've built up so many great races or great tracks, and then Abu Dhabi arrives, and it's because it's just been there for a while, and you just know it's not hugely exciting. I guess. I think it is probably over exaggerated how much people dislike it, but I'm staying on that side, and I still dislike it a decent amount.
I think people get like rose-tinted glasses over Brazil being the last race, even though like Brazil 2007 was an interesting race, Brazil 2008 was an interesting race, but Brazil 2009 wasn't a good race. But then Abu Dhabi was 2009. But yeah, I forgot about that actually.
Let's gloss over that.
Yeah, I forgot about Abu Dhabi. Yeah, so I think Brazil would be better, but I don't think it will ever be the last race. If anything, Brazil should be like it used to be, the first race of the season, like first couple of races of the season. It used to be the first race of the season.
I remember looking back through the old calendars when someone was mentioning stuff like this on Twitter, and I was like, that would be a nice little change. I wouldn't mind that. As long as the idea is, as long as we can get something of rain, because I know Brazil can have that. I don't know if the time of the year would allow it still, but yeah, bringing it earlier maybe it will work.
Yeah, like Brazil 2003 is like one of the greatest Grand Prix ever, and that was literally like the second race of the season, or third race of the season, and it was just carnage. Everyone was crashing out. Schumacher crashed out. Jordan won the race. It was crazy. I think if Brazil was in the beginning of the season, it would be great. Towards the end of the season, it's good, but it's not as early in the season back in the day. So,
my personal opinion, I would love to see Silverstone on there, but obviously weather in December is poo. Like it is cold. It's probably going to be rain. It's probably not the best weather to have fan spectators there that want to be watching it. Like you want a nice race, but personally, I want it to rain every last race of the season.
Silverstone would be I mean, even though December would obviously be cold, and I should think more about the fans, thinking they would hate to be there in December, but
would they
for the cars? I mean, if I was there,
I would love to be there.
Silverstone, I'd go, no matter what time. But I'm thinking as well with the cars, if it's cold, track temperature is going to be cold. We will probably get rain. It'll be a completely different type of Silverstone race
than what you see in the summer. Yeah.
So I'd welcome seeing that one day.
They did do that back there.
It's one of those things I don't know if it will change again, but if it did, I'm not saying no. Wouldn't mind.
I mean, they had the British Grand Prix in April, and that was considered terrible because it was just always raining and they couldn't do any running whatsoever.
It just always.
British Grand Prix in November or December is going to be interesting to say the least.
It'll be funny to watch though. Just to see how the weather even does turn out, because we might end up with an absolutely stunning summer's day for some unknown reason, and next year there's snowing.
probably no in Britain.
Right. Next subject. What would you like to move on to?
I will take one topic. I'm gonna go on to DRS because I had a debate with this on Monday when I talked about it a little bit on my own stream. Obviously the F1's aiming to get rid of it overall. They would like to just say they can pull up on their own behind someone and make the move, but while dirty air is a problem, and so you're too far away, they'll give you a little boost. And obviously everyone complains it's too powerful, etc. But do you think we should even get rid of it? I know that's what the F1's going with, but I'm starting to slide on the side of we should keep it still.
I quite like the DRS, to be fair. It gives you that extra edge of it overtaking. Yeah, it should be tweaked, because if you do end up building up a bit of a gap in the midfield, like a huge gap can break out due to a DRS train, and it can segment the race, and it takes a good safety car to bring it all back together again. So I reckon if it was tweaked, maybe sort of shorten some DRS zones or make it different to be able to activate it. I don't know. Some things could be tweaked about it to make it work a little bit better. But I like it. Yeah, I like DRS. It's nice. It's nice to see it. Yeah, it's nice to see that massive pace of overtaking coming down the straight. It's just good to see. That massive blast of sparks. It's beautiful.
I think the criticisms of DRS are kind of stupid, because the criticism is that it's an artificial way of overtaking. But I mean, people tend to, again, with rose-tinted glasses, think that the 80s was like the greatest thing ever, and the 90s was the greatest thing ever. No one overtook. No one was able to follow cars in the 90s and 80s. The races were terrible in like the 80s and 90s.
It was just action at the start.
There were highlights, but they were terrible. They couldn't follow each other, and DRS gave drivers the ability to have that be able to get close to them and have a slipstream, have a battle, do that side-by-side action. Yeah, at times it can be a bit overpowerful, but when a strategic situation happens where you need to get past someone and battle with the person later on, it actually enables that. So let's say Alonso and Petrov, Abu Dhabi 2010, let's say Alonso did get DRS, he can actually have a battle with Vettel and Hamilton towards the end of the Grand Prix. It wouldn't have been a bore fest in Abu Dhabi. And you know, we criticize saying, oh yeah, DRS is just too artificial, but that we need it to be artificial in some ways to make it a bit more interesting. We can't just have it just be, well, just dive bombs everywhere.
Yeah, because then otherwise you're just reliant on the raw pace of the car and the driver. You got no like.
Exactly. You can't.
If you do make a mistake, if you make the slightest mistake and drop a tenth for that car, like, what is there to get that, like, just even a little bit, just to get that back as sort of like an incentive, like advantage? There'd be nothing.
It's a great idea. I think, like, honestly, keeping DRS is probably the greatest thing Formula One ever invented by accident, and like getting rid of it will just go back to square one again, where they can't just follow I mean, they can, but they can't just go for a simple like strategic overtake on someone else, and they needed that overtake to have a good battle with the next car ahead. But you know,
I think I don't know if it was my own complaint, but a lot of complaint I saw of it was on the side of it made passes too easy. So in some places, like if it was way too powerful, you just open the DRS from any distance.
Yeah, it's definitely more powerful in some tracks
for you. But I want it to stay on. Maybe my example was to shorten the DRS zone so it ends 2/3 of the distance it already does now. So the braking zone and a lot more is open. It's already closed to the point where you've pulled alongside, and then the rest is on you. Something just to help you get there. Because I don't think we should get rid of that at all, because otherwise, like Dougie said, we will just have stalemates where you just can't close that gap. So something just to push you there.
What about instead of having designated zones where you can only open the DRS and that, like the KERS system, they just give you a time limit of how long you can open the DRS every lap if you're within that time. So say like you don't want to use it in the DRS zone, but there is a little bit of a straight where you do want to use it there, and say they give you maybe like, I don't know, what, 5-6 seconds worth of opening.
Maybe they should give you a set amount of DRS like activations, and you could just use it strategically that way. I think
like a battery, just flick it on and off when you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't I don't know if it was Formula 3 before in the old car, or some low Formula you had a limited amount of DRS.
Or someone said make DRS drain the battery as well. Using DRS drain the battery.
No, that would be. I
like the idea of it being a limited amount. I just don't know how you gauge for a long race how many each drivers should have.
Just give a certain amount to every single driver. Like let's say for example 10, and then those drivers will, within the 40 laps, 50 laps to Grand Prix, will have 10 opportunities to use that DRS. And however they want to use it strategically within that Grand Prix, they can use it.
Because that's what be like what Formula E does. They get that stuff where they're like, you can vote and they get like a speed boost or something, and they get because I personally never watched that. But yeah, they can like, it can get influenced quite a lot in those races as well.
See, Formula E does it, yeah. I'm trying to remember, fan boost and I forgot the joke lap thing is called now. Is that in Formula E? Because it's pretty good. I like how they give you a chance to get a boost of speed, their own version of DRS sort of thing. I don't know if, obviously we've already got ERS already in the cars. I don't think there's a need to copy such a system.
Attack mode, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, there we go.
Which is similar.
Yeah, so there's no need to have like a copy of that just to have the same thing, but I think we've got our version of that. I just think DRS needs tweaking, but maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll change it, maybe they'll end up sticking with it. I feel like it's just accidentally going to be the thing that we've got used to and we kind of need, but no one's said anything yet, so it might be there to stay.
No, I think DRS should be a permanent thing. Period. The consideration to get it removed is so ludicrous because it's just not good. Like we need strategic like reasons for using DRS. Like I personally think they should make it a 1.2 second gap to DRS instead of a 1 second gap, because like there's so many times when like you're tantalizingly close to DRS but you're never going to get it because of the turbulent wake. So if they made it like 1.1, 1.2 seconds, it would have given that opportunity to have that, you know,
so like
use DRS instead of it being
like
a second.
Extra buffer, like, because obviously a second is like just a general, if that's we'll just hold you away for a second, so a couple temps away.
Yeah.
So it's 1 point. Yeah, I could. It'd be difficult to balance that because I think that would be track dependent, the gap, I guess. But
I mean, it would have made sense like in the old generation cars, because like the amount of times we saw them be like 1.3 seconds, 1.2 seconds, but nowhere near DRS because they would just pull away.
Yeah.
And then there was nothing happening.
What do you think about how like the way the DRS detection zones are and the way drivers can sort of scab each other out of it? Because like that we've seen it happen many times where drivers slow to gain the DRS advantage. Like, is there sort of a red side to DRS as there is as more positive as it is? Because the drivers can definitely use it to their advantage over the end of a race in strategy. We've seen it happen multiple times before, where we've heard teams get like strategically give the position back, like because they know the DRS zones are coming up. Like, does it have that bit of bad play to it as well? Do you take the good with the bad?
It's just tactical.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it. The games maybe that we saw, let's say at Jeddah, with trying to give it.
Yeah.
You're trying to give it up right at the last second. Maybe I'd say that's still fine. It's just a little bit odd to see, but I'm happy with how we saw Charles Leclerc at Bahrain braking. He said he was braking early to make sure he would be behind for the next section to get. I think that's fine. That's just part and parcel of the whole race. But if it gets a bit scruffy, it's just not nice to see. But it's the sport. That's what you're going to see, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, like everyone's going to try and take that extra advantage. I mean, how many times have you seen Alonso? I remember like
how many times have we seen Verstappen weave without getting a warning? Jesus Christ!
I remember Canada 2013 when Hamilton and Alonso were battling, and then they were also playing with DRS. They were doing stuff that now esports drivers do, which is basically just pretend that they're going to take the DRS off them, and then eventually Alonso took it and overtook him. But like, yeah, they're obviously going to take whatever advantage they can to maximize their potential, obviously. So I take that as a win, if anything, to be honest.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think it's fine. It's fine. It's weird, but it's there. It's meant to be there.
What do you prefer, KERS or the battery they have now? Obviously they're hybrids, completely different than then than they were now, but comprehensive, like general systems of the way they work. Did you prefer the way they used to have the KERS system then, or the rechargeable battery now?
See, from a technical standpoint, I prefer now because I just love anything more advanced. But from an actual fan standpoint, I preferred KERS because I could visibly see when it's being on the TV graphics. That's the thing I think right now it's missing, which I guess teams probably want to hide certain things.
Yeah. I hate that. I hate that you just never know. We play the games. We know, like, we see the red flashing light. That means like less 10%. It's completely different than that. But like, being able to know if they've even just like turned it up to use a bit more battery. We know nothing about the battery usage during the race.
That's missing, and we need some some way to at least the minimum, at least the battery level. Because when I'm watching on the onboards, I will try and like sneak a look at the dash to see the green, yellow, red bars, so I can just tell myself. But if they could just tell the teams, you have to give us that telemetry, let the fans see that. That way you can at least gauge.
Mate, going into like what last 2 laps, it being able to see like one of the cars having so much battery and one of the cars having like so much battery left is, it can really change the outcome of the way you feel watching a battle. Just knowing even that small minor change on who would hold the upper hand due to having maybe I don't know 4% more. That could really, really, really change the feel of like suspense towards the end of a race. In my opinion.
I think I prefer the ERS now than in I mean, like the KERS back then, it was more used for defense because of DRS, and the ERS system now is more for attack than it is for defending. So I don't know. I think I'd prefer the one that you would prefer to push to attack rather than push to defend, because I think actually there was kind of a balance, because you had the DRS, which was the attacking thing, and then the KERS was the defense. So there was kind of a balance, and then you had just ERS and DRS, which is just all out attack, just pushing constantly. Yeah, I'd go for the ERS. Then the one that we have right now is, I think, way better than what we had back then. And plus, it was a shorter period. It was only like 6 seconds of use, 6.7 seconds of the KERS, and that wasn't enough at all.
Like I think we forget now that I believe it still is a limited amount of time, I believe, or limited amount of power you can use, not time.
So you say 3.6 seconds or something stupid like that. Yeah.
Like that sort of thing, I just need that to be shown to the fans, anyone watching on the graphics. Just give that information to us so we can see, okay, that's how much to deploy, that's how much they can deploy for the rest of that lap. The same as the F1 game gives us. We get more from the game if you played it than you do from the real thing on that side.
But it's a bit different because like how they use deployment in a lap, it's different. It's like you have one. It's like a set mode of deployment where you can use it on a lap. It's different in F1. It's like how iRacing have it is completely accurate, where it's in the W12, it's like you have set moments where you can actually use the overtake, and then it's only in certain parts of the track where you can actually use it. While in the game, it's like a battery, and you could use it everywhere, which isn't correct. So it's like it's difficult to like show it's difficult to show where you could put the set overtake if it's only going to be in like 3 like elements of it. So
it could be
never do that.
Could be like they display the DRS on the tracks like with little green zones. It'd just be like, I don't know, overlay that with another yellow zone on where they're actually allowed to use it. I didn't even know that they were only allowed to use like a certain time still on their battery. Honestly, didn't even know that.
That's why you see them like sometimes deploy like harvest like mid corner. It's because how they strategically use it is through different zones.
Like it used to be like when you played the 2020 game, you go for like difference in changes in your fuel. You go from like lean, medium to rich mix. They do that sort of thing with the ERS throughout the corners. Mate, the skill level to do that. I am at Monaco, man. I cannot do it.
I mean, in fairness, it was easier than... I say easier. At least they don't have to manually go from, like... You remember how the old game was where you had to go from hot lap, and then when you were coming through the corner, you to lean and stuff. At least it's not that difficult for them, but yeah, I'd love to... I just want to be able to have more transparency on that side for us, but...
Yeah. Oh, views on the new TV graphics as well.
Yes, I like them.
Why are they so delayed? Why are they so delayed? Why doesn't it show you the time immediately when they cross the line? It waits like a second and a half. It's awful.
I think that you can't tell the cars apart, and they all have like they all have like white numbers.
They do.
And so you're just like. And then Hamilton's is even worse because his is a black number in the background with a white outline, so you can't even see his.
I mean, it's not quite as bad as last year when we had. Last year we had like what the tire diagrams powered by AWS that were telling us Lewis Hamilton's front left was like 90% or whatever. Like them graphics last year were. Do you reckon they're going to be back in this year with their outrageous tire statistics that they were giving us last year?
I don't like them, but I know they have I'm pretty certain they have a deal with AWS, Amazon in general.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be annoyed shortly, but the graphics in general for the TV stuff
terrible. I'm not happy about it.
it's a weird step back. It's just everything's now less clear, and then during qualifying when you're trying to see the sectors, at least last time, if someone got a purple and then someone else retook that purple,
do you know what I'm more annoyed about is they've made the edges of it round, so it doesn't meet up with the corner of my telly anymore. For someone with drastic OCD, outrageous. Why change it? It was beautiful what they had. The new theme they had, it was great. I must admit, the new intro though, top tier. The newest intro that they have for the season.
I do like new intro.
It's fantastic.
There's good and bad parts of the rebrand. I know they like going for full rebrand of everything, but like they don't just do like, okay, the TV graphics alone. But
yeah, like we got used to the TV graphics. They're amazing.
Off topic, the Sky intro is pretty sick too. I don't know if you saw that, but yeah.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
I'll back it. It's really nice.
I'll back it. Yeah, I did watch it on Sky as well. It was very good.
But yeah, no, I think the graphics look like a step back. I mean, the 2021s look way more easier to read. Like,
yeah.
You could tell who's Bottas, and you could tell who was Hamilton in the Mercedes. You could tell who a Red Bull was.
Like, even the commentators were getting it wrong. The amount of times they got Ocon in the Alpines mixed up was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Even they're having a hard time.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I don't think they'll even change it as well. The thing is, we will just have to, as fans, suck that up.
Right.
To be fair, they just need to tweak it. Like, the complaints that we kind of have, they could just add on to it, and then it will just be better. But, like...
I know people are asking for, like, overall changes to go back to the old system. Like, that won't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you reckon we'll ever see a return of, like, the extreme soft compound tyres?
No. Actually, yes, because technically they still exist, don't they?
Yeah. They do still exist.
I hate this stupid Pirelli C5 to C1 bullshit. My bad. But yeah, I hate that. It's so stupid. I hate that.
Why do they keep changing the tyre colours and like, it's so aggravating the way it works.
I absolutely hate C5 to C1. Why do we have that? Like, that's more complicated than the colors. Like, we see a purple tire, we know it's ultra soft. Why do we have to see a soft tire and see C3 and we have to think, oh yeah, that's the medium tire of that tire, which is the soft tire, which is the C3.
Yeah. C3 soft. It's
See, the thing is, I know their idea when they switch from hyper soft, ultra, super soft, all the way through. Their idea was to think the fans don't need to know if it's the super soft version. We'll just make some behind the scenes stuff. But the problem is they've told us too much.
Yeah,
C1 to C5. So now I'm still just as interested, but it's just a worse name.
I'm still that guy that just identifies it from the side of the color on the sidewall. I've just had enough of them throwing digits at me now. Right, they're red. That's it. He's on softs. He's on soft.
C5. So in Australia, it's like what, C5, C3, C2 or something like that?
I think they're skipping. So it's not 3 consecutive tires. It's the medium tire is 2 steps away from the softs.
Now explain that to a completely new F1 fan. What the C5 tire, C3, and C2 tire is.
But they're labelled as medium, soft, and hard for the race.
Yeah, for me, if I'm ever explaining that to a fan, I will just not mention the C1 to 5. I'll just tell them soft is the quickest tire, the medium's the middle. I'm not going to bother going into that.
We want hyper hard tires. Someone's just said in chat, mate, you need to not be a Formula 1 fan. What are they going to go from? What are they going to do this week's and next week's Grand Prix on them? That is ridiculous.
Stuck on the track.
Yeah, they should just bring back the name. I miss the colours. I actually liked the colours.
I did. I did used to get mixed up with between the bright pink and the slightly pink though. What ones were they? There you go.
Hyper and Ultra.
Yeah, Hyper and Ultra. They were so close to being the same colour.
Yeah, I think. Honestly, I think they should just get rid of Hyper Soft. But yeah, Ultra Soft, which is technically the C5 tire now, because it's Ultra Soft, then Super Soft, Soft, Medium, Hard.
Yeah.
Which is the 5 compounds that they're using. I think, yeah, keep Ultra Soft and Super Soft, fine. Soft, fine. Yellow, everyone knows that. Medium was the white tire. Hard was the orange tire. Simple. It wasn't that difficult.
I don't think
everyone knew what the tires
were. When I first started watching Formula 1, the yellow tire was the hard tire.
Because,
but that was back then. Yeah, so
that was way back yonder, though.
That was like 2014, 13, yeah.
Because I only got into it around 2010, like properly.
Yeah. So colours are better to differentiate. Like if you was checking anything at a glance, you will be able to, like, anything you shot for or whatever, colors are a thing you're just going to spot off. Oh, that one's that color, that one's this color. Red is bad, green is good, so that sort of idea. So, yeah, I wish they would, if they was going to talk about all the types of tires, just give them all colors.
Yeah.
Say that one's that.
I don't want to say mediums one week, mediums next week, but they're two complete. One's a C4 and one's a C5 because it's not the same tire.
Yeah.
So essentially, them trying to make it less confusing
has made it more confusing.
Classic F1 once again.
Outrageous.
Yeah, just bring back the colors, and I'll be happy. I like seeing like when you see, like, let's say Max Verstappen on an ultra soft tire, you know he's on the fastest tire, and you know he's gonna push.
You mean in business?
Especially with F1, with the fact that purple means fastest anywhere, fastest lap. If you see purple,
you see purple,
tires, you see purple tires, you see a purple. It just makes sense. But now it's just like, oh, he's on the soft tire, he's on the C5.
It's a bit slow.
It's just not as exciting.
It's just not even fast.
No,
it's ridiculous.
It just means nothing.
Outrageous.
But do we want to? Do we have any more topics before you want to move on to the questions that we've got? We have a fair few. Is
Haas a possible contender for P3 in the championship this year? Do you reckon?
All season? I'm doubting it. I'm not doubting they'll be good, but I'm doubting Mercedes.
You want to do a £5 bet on it? Because I think yes.
I think yes as well.
Right,
this is episode 1. Come back at episode 20, whatever it is, and we're gonna see Haas P3.
I want my £5 when we come back. I mean, look, I think Haas might challenge P3.
P3, P4. It's P3 or P4, but I'm holding hope.
Just think about it. Like, think about the grid. Like, you got McLaren, who are
proper in the doghouse.
McLaren, let's not talk about that. Move on.
Aston Martin, where the Aston Martin, and well, yeah, and then you have Williams, which are and then you have Aston Martin, and then you have Alfa Romeo, which is probably the likeliest contender.
Other than Haas.
There's a lot of. After thinking,
Alpine, they're just non-existent. I mean, the only time you care about Alpine is because you have Alonso in the car. Other than that, you don't really care about Alpine too much. I mean, unless you like Ocon, but like, and then
AlphaTauri, you're just waiting for the Yuki Tsunoda radio moments to come over. That's all I'm waiting for.
Yeah, AlphaTauri, you have to hope Gasly clutches up or something,
Yeah.
or Tsunoda clutches up in a Grand Prix or something, and they're not going to like coherently score points together. I don't think. Like, one will just do better than the other.
Yeah, it's a clear difference there. So yeah.
Did anybody manage to catch the Chinese version commentary of the race highlights, where they were commentating over Guan Yu Zhou when he pulled the P10 when Sergio Perez spun? Oh my goodness, the passion from them they were screaming for Guan Yu Zhou getting points that race. It was unbelievable. I don't know if anyone else actually saw that commentary as well, but. It was great.
I haven't caught that yet.
It was so good.
Imagine that's going to be on the vibes of like when Pierre won Monza and the French.
The best way I can put it is like out of context. You know when they're like a crazy football commentators like, look, literally.
Great rendition.
Something like that, boys. Yeah, but it was. If you get time, go and check it out. It's fantastic.
I will have to check that out because I can imagine. Yeah, he's on the talk about the rookies, especially Guan Yu Zhou. I'm not sure which one I'm going to pronounce.
He's the only rookie though.
Yeah, he's. Right. Yeah, rookie.
I mean, I'll take Alex Albon again as a rookie. I mean, he's at Williams, to be fair, and he's.
But Guan Yu Zhou is looking. He's looking promising. He's not. I know the car is probably like making me think that because every rookie before has joined in, bar Yuki, I guess. Every rookie's joined in a Williams or something that was just at the back. Like last year, you didn't even think about Mick too much, other than obviously his name. But now Guan Yu Zhou's in a car that's. You'll actually see him try and get a point. You might actually think about him. I don't know if that's me skewing it in my head, but I just looked impressed. He didn't seem off it that much. He seemed like he deserved it.
I'd say he didn't do anything wrong, nor he didn't do it. I mean, yeah, he just didn't do anything wrong. all weekend.
Yeah.
But then that was like Sonoda in his first race. He didn't do anything wrong and got points in his first race. But time will tell whether or not he will struggle. Like we saw Sonoda struggle towards the beginning of the season, like spinning, causing red flags, stuff like that. And then eventually, like Abu Dhabi, he finished P4.
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of things happened in Abu Dhabi, but people tend to forget.
What happened?
It was Signs. Signs had a great race as well. Signs had a great race.
He got podium, didn't he?
P3. Yeah.
No one remembers.
Nobody remembers that Signs got P3. Nobody.
Yeah, so now got P4 in that Grand Prix. Whatever you make of it, and then like
who got P5?
Was it?
What
was it? No, it was Lando. No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Lando. It wasn't Lando, because he was the one being.
No.
Being on the flight.
Let's not say it. We're already going too far into. I think.
P5. I actually don't know.
Leclerc P5.
Okay.
Was it Leclerc?
Someone beat us to it. Leclerc.
Okay.
No, it can't be. No, Leclerc was P like. No,
Dougie refuses.
No,
he refuses to complete.
I remember that because he was the one that was like complaining that he couldn't get unlocked. So was Ricardo.
I honestly don't know.
I've dumped out my brain. I can't actually help you.
Right, same.
Looking it up. I'm good.
Gasly.
Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Oh wow, it's actually the most talked about Grand Prix.
P5 was Pierre Gasly.
Okay.
Gasly. It was no, it wasn't.
Oh, right, I forget about that as well. See, almost just remember P3 and 4, but forgot about Gasly and P. Okay.
Yeah, Bottas was 6. Okay. Ben Norris. Yeah, Leclerc finished 10th. I remember that because he was the one complaining that he couldn't unlap himself. And yeah, obviously, the other ones. Well, yeah. Okay. Anyway.
All right. Well, questions or any other topics before?
No, I've done. I've covered every topic I wanted to. Let's Dougie, you got any?
I was thinking like, oh yeah, we'll talk about Aston Martin at one point. I guess we could talk about them if you want, or do you want to just forget them because they're a bit anonymous?
Yeah, they ain't doing much though. We'll get some vet. We'll get in the car. Not really.
If he can get in the car, because apparently he has a negative COVID test.
Yeah, he still hasn't given a positive one yet.
He hasn't given a positive one, which
kind of very fine for that one. Yeah, I don't know if there's much to say on them just yet. That's a bit mean if there's any Aston Martin fans in the chats. I apologize.
So wait, what? He hasn't tested negative yet, so he can't get in the car.
No, he hasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't tested negative yet.
Oh, so he's still positive.
It's because I don't think they can let him fly until he has.
So where is he at the minute? Is he still in Bahrain then?
I assume so. I actually have no idea.
He was there for testing, so I'd assume.
Yeah, still in Bahrain. Yeah. Well, guess they're getting the Hulk back.
Yeah, so we get Hulk.
Can't complain.
In before Hulkenberg's a permanent.
Mate, I've wanted him back on the good phrases. I love him. I don't think he's not an amazing driver. He's average at best, but I just like him. Yeah, I just like him. In every single grill the grid behind the scenes, anything they ever made, and it was funny.
I've had this debate for last week, but do you think Stroll's better than Hulkenberg?
No.
I was giving an immediate answer. I had to restrain myself there.
Do you think Stroll's better than Hulkenberg?
Absolutely not. I think Hulkenberg is much better than Lance Stroll, in my opinion. Give him, I don't know, 3 or 4 Grand Prix race weekends to adapt to the same bit of kit. But I personally think that Nico Hulkenberg is better than Lance Stroll.
I'm debating saying they're even.
Am I the only person that thinks that? I think Stroll's better than Hulkenberg.
Nah, you must be.
I could be.
Well, actually, I've got people in chat that back you.
Okay, so Stroll has 3 podiums. How many podiums does Hulkenberg have? Remind me.
Probably none.
That's an irrelevant stat.
You're the knowledge bomb, Doug. Tell me how many.
Remind me, how many podiums does Nico Hulkenberg have in his 10 years in Formula 1? Actually, no, 13 years in Formula 1.
Don't know.
Zero.
See, the thing is between those two,
he had zero podiums, and this is the time when he had a Force India where Perez was his teammate and had 5 podiums in 1 season.
I'm judging by now though.
I don't know now.
Different kit back then.
I mean, Stroll's had 3. Okay, Stroll's had 3 podiums. Williams was one of them.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was a great podium. That was a great podium.
And I think, yeah, fair enough. Bahrain was.
That podium's a podium.
Fair enough. Yeah, it was like a tough race. But then Stroll beat Hulkenberg in the race by 30 seconds. So I mean, like, I don't know. I'm in the camp that Stroll's better than Hulkenberg. But
I've never been like someone to like just look at Stroll and think, okay, he's the real deal sort of driver. But I'd admit he's done a lot better than I think we like to give him credit for. I will admit he's done pretty damn good in the midfield.
I mean, Stroll beat Verstappen to pole in Turkey, famously.
Yeah. That was a great qualifying. He did exceptionally well.
That was insane. Like, no one expected Stroll to beat fucking Verstappen to pole.
Wasn't that in the pink Mercedes though?
Yeah.
You've got to be. I've been sided here, Dougie. You've now actually turned me into
where Verstappen's been known to be one of the best
in the pink Mercedes though. Let's just clarify that one. In the illegal car with the illegal brake ducts with, an illegal motor.
I mean, if you're going to say that, then Perez didn't deserve his win. Which one is it? Tell me.
Same. It's the same. Same opinion.
I'm just going to say this now, that, I think a lot of people don't like Stroll purely because he has money. And I think, he has had, a lot of, like, negative backing because of, like, how easy it was for him to get to F1 with his dad.
Yeah. Open the door, come in.
Yeah, effectively, and it's kind of overshadowed his potential of being. I mean, he was F3 champion before.
I think he was better before he comes to Formula One. I think he had.
He didn't just come into F1 and was bad. He was F3 champion. Like Mazepin was never an any champion at any sort.
Yeah, but we know that was money. Haas was on the back. But yeah, I still think Stroll is an amazing driver, but. I don't know. I just like Nico Hulkenberg. It's more of like I'm a fan of him than I am of Stroll.
I'm gonna say it's now Hulkenberg. Every single time he's almost got a podium, he's crashed. I'm just gonna say that now.
No comment, but it is true.
Brazil 2012 comes to mind when I think, oh yeah, he was leading that Grand Prix, and then what? Tries to lap Manor, hits Hamilton, and then gets a penalty. And then, Germany 2019, I think that the Leclerc spin crash and Hamilton's crashing, and then Hulkenberg is now in P3. 3 laps later, goes into the wet stuff, goes into the barriers. What's the race?
Yeah, I think Nico's
under pressure.
I love him, but he's had his chance at doing all that.
Yeah, he's definitely had his chance. Yeah, he's had his chance.
He's never had a podium. I just can't see why Hulkenberg is getting.
I'm not gonna lie, on the driver side of things, you've definitely convinced me that Stroll is a better driver. I just like Hulkenberg.
Everyone likes Hulkenberg because he's a nice guy, but he's just not pro. Like Magnussen is better than Hulkenberg. First race he joined. Podium.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. I like Hulkenberg as well, but I can't think he's better than Stroll. I think it's just.
Right, the Lance Stroll propaganda's come through now. We've been swayed. We've been swayed.
It's just like. Facts.
We can't argue with that.
I pulled up the receipts. I was just like, nah. Stroll hate needs to go.
Yeah, those tabs loaded and ready.
I'm just reading through the questions some people asked. Some of them are some good questions. But some of them I don't even know the answer to. Like some of the questions that I've, like one of them is, will Alonso jump ship before the season ends? Like, that's not even a. Like,
I think I have a similar question on the lines of that for Alonso. Not him leaving straight immediately, but like how long he's actually going to stick around. Because obviously he's back thinking he would win a championship. I think even
you do. There's no way you come back at that age. Yeah, you don't come back at that age to just compete for a bit. You want to win a world championship. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if you want to go on that question, you can. But I don't think he's not leaving mid-season. I don't think any.
Yeah, I don't think he is either.
Alonso leaving is the question, right?
Yeah.
No, he's not leaving.
Yeah. No.
I was like kind of the anti-Alonso when he first joined because I thought, why not put Zhou Guanyu there or Piastri.
Oh, Piastri, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, why not just put a young driver in there? I mean, like, Piastri's won literally every single thing he's come up to this point. And then Alpine is a developing team that's getting better. Alonso isn't getting that, you know, like need of winning races, winning championships, which is what he wants. So why do this? But at the same time, I think Alonso is just there just to have fun with it, and just, you know, if he gets a podium, he'll treat it like a win, and then it'll just go from there. But maybe, I think it's just like what Schumacher did with Mercedes, and Alonso is basically just developing that team, and then once he goes, Piastri takes the seat, and then all of a sudden the Alpine is good again.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, it's difficult to see how long he'll stay. I think it'll probably be another season, and then maybe then he might. And then he might go.
Yeah.
I have a combination of two questions that I could ask. So it's themed around Seb Vettel, Aston Martin, Comber. So it's starting with someone's asking if Seb and Aston Martin can recreate what Schumacher and Mercedes started to do, where they built up a car and built up what they was doing to eventually lead on to some dominance, or do you even think Seb's going to stick around that long? So I just want to change it to, like, how long do you reckon Seb's even going to stick with this project, and do you think it's going to lead on to more? Because Aston Martin, since they've joined F1 as an actual name, has kind of only gone in the wrong direction. Seb's just kind of been languishing around the back. So
I don't think Seb's going to move on to another team after he's finished with Aston Martin, personally. It'd be a sad day to see him go, but I don't think he'll last that much longer. I don't think he'll stay around. Maybe this season, another season. How long's his contract? Anyone know? What's left on his contract?
I'm not sure myself. I don't think it's long. He would need to be. Most it probably won't.
Unless they really dug deep into the pocket, I don't think. Yeah.
I don't even think he could be convinced, to be honest.
I just don't see them getting up there again. Yeah, he's accomplished. He's done it. I think he's just going to turn into the next Raikkonen, to be fair. He'll just keep doing it until he can't be bothered anymore. And then I hope to see him move on to some sort of like role as a team principal or something, because nobody wants to see Seb Vettel leave F1. What's your views on it, Dougie?
I think Vettel doesn't care about legacy, and he doesn't really care if he goes or not. The thing is, when Vettel goes is when he's bored of Formula 1, or if he falls out of love with it, and that's the only time he'll probably go. I think
because when he goes, he's gone. He doesn't do social media.
Yeah.
He's gone. I don't think Vettel cares. I think Vettel still loves the sport. That's why he's still there. But it's gonna be a matter of time where he just falls out of love with it and then just dips. I think that will probably be. I don't know. It's only a matter of time. I mean, from the face of it, it seems like a matter of time, but it could be years. I don't know. It really is on him. I think if it is like what people think, like the pessimistic me would say it's like, well, the cynical of me would say it's probably like within 2 seasons. But I think me being kind of more optimistic, I'd say it's probably another 3-4 more seasons. But like, I mean, he's 34 years old.
Yeah. I think I'm not sure exactly. He's around that age though, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's 34, so I think he'll probably be there for another 3-4 more years, because Hamilton's been like 37, Alonso's 40, Raikkonen was 41 when he retired. So yeah, I think
Alonso's 41 now, yeah.
Yeah. Alonso's 41 now. So yeah, so easy. I think he'll probably be there for a while.
Do you think
he's happy?
Do you think Alonso will stay another season after this season ends?
I can see Alonso going after this season, and I don't know why. Like, Alonso is obviously the character where he's been back and forth a couple of times. It's the opposite of Seb's. Like, Seb, once he's done, he will be done. But if Fernando smells another chance at doing something in F1, he might think about it. But I've said it every time I think he's left. I think this one might be the actual last one. I think
next season. I think he'll probably go for another season. I think Alonso is just a driver that just wants to just drive, and he's just the type of driver that just wants to drive and just do well. Yeah. Like, he will get in anything. He'll go into IndyCar. He did Le Mans. He won the WEC Championship. He's done everything. I think he just loves Formula 1 to the point where he just wants to just drive. And yeah.
I think he cares more about his teammate winning the championship than he does.
If he's in running for it, I don't think that's true.
Well, let me rephrase that. It's more of like helping his teammate. Like when we see his defense in like Hungary and stuff like that, it was incredible. Like he really is a team player. If he isn't fighting for it and he's at the back and he could do anything to help his teammates still fight, like Perez or something like that, he's an incredible team player. Like to see him after the race, like with like how supporters he is of his team. Like most team rivalries, you see like both teammates don't usually get along that well, but like a couple of teams they really do get along. And like I think that it's hard to find a teammate that Alonso wouldn't get along with.
Hamilton.
Okay, but you know, like a teammate that he'll actually be with. But you know, like if he was paired up with like someone new, a rookie, for example, I think like I don't know, he's a good role model. But I do want to see him fighting for a championship again.
I mean, he was a good role model to Hamilton too when he was a rookie.
Yeah.
Was he?
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I agree to an extent that he is like he's a good teacher. But I think Alonso is more focused on just driving and just driving. Like he wants to battle with the likes of Hamilton, Vettel, or whoever the best.
Yeah.
Because that shows the caliber of driver he is. He is one of the best drivers we've ever seen in the sport, and like him battling with Hamilton in Hungary is just the best example. And I mean, I think Qatar was his best example because he scored a podium in Qatar.
Yeah.
And he was just driving balls to the wall.
That was a great race.
Just going at it, and it was a great race. And so Alonso's not going to lose his touch. It's just whether or not he sort of Vettel, whether or not he falls in love with the sport, or he just doesn't want. He wants to do something else that passes his time a bit better. But I think Alonso's got a couple more years at least. It's just whether or not he wants to win races or championships or not. If he can, then he'll probably stay.
How long do you think Sergio will play the driver number 2? It's clear he is. Clear as day that he's. I
don't even.
Do you think he's? I don't think he's.
I don't think he's gonna.
I think he'll stay for another couple of seasons, but I don't think he's gonna. I don't know, because it's clear that they want Max to win again. I'd imagine, like playing teammate again. Do you reckon they're going to do it again this year, or do you reckon they're going to let him fight his own fight again?
No, I'm pretty. I said from the get-go, I've been saying every prediction because we've touted Red Bull, Ferrari to be the 2 top teams. So every time I mention it, like I see Ferrari's lineup, and I was like, okay, Sainz and Leclerc. Weirdly, at Ferrari, I don't think there'll be a number 1 and 2 really, unless the championship dictates it. Initially, it'll be fine, but Red Bull, I immediately don't even. It's bad, but I immediately don't even think of Checo being a.
Same. Like, I'm a Red Bull fan, and I just don't even think Checo is even in with a chance of winning the World Drivers' Championship at that seat he's in.
Even if his pace is there, like, I just feel like Red Bull are just... Max is
Beats has just called him a glorified bridesmaid.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Maybe a bit harsh, but... yeah, he's better than that. He's just... You don't consider him. It's just an automatic. He's a couple attempts on. It's the safe second option. Red Bull have the perfect lineup, but the thing is,
good
Red Bull
backup driver.
They're gonna have to start thinking about it with, obviously. Well, I'm saying not Yuki, probably a while for Yuki, but I don't know what their situation with Gasly. Yeah, I don't know if
the Red Bull have never ever gone back on themselves ever in their history. If you've ever looked it up. Like they refused to give it to Kvyat when literally the opportunity was there for him to have it, and they gave it to Albon.
Yeah, see, I know they've got a few. I just don't know what they're gonna do with outside, but
I don't think they'll ever give Gasly a chance again. But Gasly wants in, obviously, and he wants to go to Red Bull, but I can't see that happening.
I mean, Red Bull do kind of have this is my thing. They have a lot of fairly good young drivers. I'm trying to think into F2 and F3. Liam Lawson's, Yuri Phipps. I'm not obviously they're not jumping into Red Bull straight away, but they're gonna need to clear out some space in an AlphaTauri soon. And yeah, Pierre will be going fairly soon, I reckon. I just don't know where to.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the Red Bull system, it's
Pierre and Perez swapping over.
I mean, you could. I mean, if Perez, let's say, if Perez retires from Formula One. I think it's the only opportunity for Gasly to ever get that Red Bull, which I can't see happening in like any situation anywhere anytime soon. I think Perez and the Verstappen like harmony is so good that I can't see that change. It's like it's almost to the levels of Ricciardo and Verstappen, except obviously, yeah, there is a noticeable pace difference, but I think Perez could give it a go. I kind of disagree. I think Perez could give it a go for the championship if he just improves his qualifying. I think his race pace is just as good as Verstappen. It's just, you know, he just needs to improve his qualifying performances because they're not that good. And once he gets that up, I think he has that every opportunity to challenge Verstappen for the championship, barring any issues or anything like that. Yeah, he could give it a go. He just needs the confidence and the self-belief that he could do it. And whether or not he has that, or has that extra tenth to beat his teammate in qualifying, is another matter. But no, I think with the situation with Gasly, I think it's difficult because I think Perez is going to be that permanent feature for Verstappen to be that number 2. That's going to be like at least a 5-year, 6-year thing at least. I can't see that changing ever for them. And Gasly will have to go, I don't know, Alpine or something and hope for the best. I don't know. Honestly, it's
the best.
So yeah, I think Red Bull have accidentally stumbled across, like, not accidentally, they knew what they did, but
the God Squad.
Yeah, like how Mercedes obviously had the perfect Lewis Hamilton obviously, and then Valtteri just as well. Obviously the car was clear enough, so no one could really push Valtteri. And in 2021, a lot of people fit in that gap between Lewis and him, but they just had that perfect combo. And even though George was around on the scene, they just had to keep delaying it. Ocon as well was looked out for, but they just had to keep saying, well, we don't need to change it. I can agree, Red Bull probably will be in that scenario for a bit, and the young drivers might be kept waiting just a little too long. I don't know.
I think going back again with Gasly again, I feel like I'm talking about him too much now. Obvious reason.
Catch the poster in the back, right here. I had to, right. I just want to clarify. When we were setting this up, I had to make sure that was in there. Otherwise, I was on the ropes. Make sure Gasly's in there. He's in there, and it is a beautiful poster. Not quite as good as this one.
He does have an entire poster of Pierre Gasly on behind. The only thing on his wall, is Pierre Gasly.
Yes, of course.
There will be Bottas. Bottas coming soon.
Bottas is coming soon, yes. So there is a Bottas one coming soon, I saw it. And then maybe a Verstappen one, I don't know. But yeah, no, the last point with Gasly is that he could go Merc. Because Hamilton is retiring very, very, very soon. Because he's...
No, mate, I reckon he'll just keep saying that until he's 57. Just to keep the hype up. Yeah, I'm retiring this year, and he'll go cold on social media every year until 4 weeks before the Grand Prix, and you'll just see him turn up every time. And he'll do that until he's part of the furniture. He'll just keep for every year. Oh, I'm going to retire this year, and he's 55. I'm going to retire this year. I do
like the idea of Gasly though.
Gasly and Mercedes would be pretty cool, actually.
That would be amazing. It would be amazing.
Once he gets let go from that Red Bull system, and if it times with Lewis leaving, yeah, I'd snap that up straight away.
Gaz and Russ, oof. That's a good bit of a pair up.
That's okay pairing. I don't see the problem.
I'll be alright with that pairing.
But with the Red Bull situation is just a weird one because obviously you got Yuri Vips and I forgot Liam Lawson coming in as well.
Yeah,
it's a tough sell. Maybe they need a third team. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Quite Toro Rosso again. I don't know.
Get him in as well.
Yeah.
Right, that's that question answered.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Do you guys have? I have loads written down that people have asked. Do you guys have any more?
I do have more. If you want me, if you want me to lead, unless you want to drop a question first, up to you.
You go for one. I'm gonna read through. And see what, because there's not that many good ones out of the ones I've picked.
All right, so I'll go with this one. Yeah. So obviously we had the new, the budget cap and maybe not less of that, but the wind tunnel stuff, so where it's scaled to the top team has the least amount of time, etc. The bottom team has the most. Do you actually think that's working or will be be working as intended, because I already think we've started to see with Ferrari. Obviously, there was P3 last season, so obviously would have had more time compared to Mercedes and Red Bull, and obviously they had a title fight to do. Do you think that's actually going to work to balance the teams up so it won't be a massive gap?
I don't think it will, because I think there's been so much of a legacy gap built up for like the last 10 years of massive income gaps between these teams that there's always going to be some sort of like backhand going on to somehow be able to spend some more money on something from the larger teams that just have the money. I think it's good, but I still think that there's teams that are going to progress further than others regardless.
There's two questions looking into that: the budget cap and the wind tunnel thing. I think, okay, regarding with the wind tunnel thing, I think it has worked.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the Ferrari, because the wind tunnel thing began in 2020 when Ferrari were 6th in the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah.
And they were like obviously like midfield team, and then obviously Haas were at the back with Williams and etc. etc. So I think it has worked because they were at the time 6th best team, now best team. Arguably best team, yeah. So yeah, that probably could work. And then now you have Haas, who were one of the worst teams, now like 5th best team, 4th best team in some people's eyes. So I think it has worked in terms of that. But in terms of the budget cap, no.
Yeah,
the budget cap, I think it's just kind of like a placeholder, and it's going to make new teams, let's say Audi or VW, come into the sport. It's just going to make them struggle at the beginning, and then eventually they'll probably feed into like somewhere in the beginning. They would have to have all the wind tunnel time and testing in the world for them to come back in, and then eventually have the levels of like what Ferrari have or Mercedes or Red Bull have. So it's difficult to say, but I think it is too early to call. But at the same time, I think you could say that the wind tunnel testing has affected things. But I think Mercedes will just figure it out eventually and have that time. Like, all the time will eventually catch up again to the point where it actually will be Mercedes again.
Do you think Williams just had the day off during the wind tunnel testing? Or because they had the most time, and like did they like sack a couple of days off and turn up, or mate? I don't know what he's going on with that Williams car.
Well, I mean, you have like Latifi and Albon, and okay,
they must have just had like 4 blokes at the front of the garage, like.
I'm not slating Williams. I don't want to do it.
Okay, if we're going to talk about Williams, the sad thing about Williams is that the driver lineup just doesn't work, does it?
No, it really doesn't. It really doesn't.
I don't like that driver lineup at all.
As much as I like Latifi, I don't think he's a very good F1 driver at all. In my opinion.
I mean, it would make more sense if they had like even their development drivers aren't even. I mean, like the only person I really care about is Logan Sargent, and he's okay. And Jamie Chadwick is in that, but Jamie Chadwick isn't even in F2. She's still in W Series.
Yeah.
So it's like okay, but then you have Roy Nissany in there, and he's not that great.
He's still in
the Williams Trophy. I mean, he's 27.
It's like still living at home with your mum, isn't it?
Again.
Exactly. So it's the Williams Driving Academy is just not in a great shape right now. I mean, the only person I like is good is Logan Sargent. They've got him. They've got the F3 champ. Well, now called about the F3 champion. I forgot his name.
I remember when he's got I forget his name as well.
Yeah, he's now in it now, but he's in the F3 championship, FIF3 championship now, and so yeah, they've got him, and that's about it. So it's kind of a weird situation for Williams, because like, if anything, they just needed Nick de Vries in there. I think honestly, if they had Nick de Vries and another Mercedes driver in there, it would be a great driver pairing for them to actually develop that car and actually be good. But
I think Williams has just gone downhill and downhill and downhill ever since.
Yeah, when you have a driver that's part of Red Bull who isn't really like doesn't care about your team, and you've got Latifi who isn't the greatest driver, it's not going to be good. And then you can see the results happening right now. With McLaren, there is hope. Like you've got Lando Norris and Ricciardo in there. There is hope for that team to improve. I can't see that with Williams. And
I can't see it.
With Aston Martin, again, they have the team to improve because they have the money now, and they also have Vettel if Winnie comes back. So there is hope for that team to improve. It's just Williams, I can't see them. I think they'll still probably be at the back again.
The only thing I saw out of Latifi last year was him battling for 2 laps with Mick Schumacher, and then 3 corners later he was in the wall.
I mean, the highlight for Albon was what, quarreling with a 2020 Williams in Russia for 15th.
Yeah, when we
and getting spun by Lewis Hamilton twice.
Right I mean, I don't know.
I don't think he was the right pick for there. Like, I think he was suggested by Russell as well when Russell left.
Yeah, because they're best mates.
Yeah.
But De Vries makes way more sense. Because De Vries is a Mercedes development driver and part of
I think we should have got in F1 as well. I feel like he's
dominated the 2019 F2 Championship as well.
Exactly.
I don't know.
There's a problem with F2 and F3 thing. Like the
money talks.
It's too hard to get into F1. There's so many good young drivers. Like I could name too many in F2 and F3 that I'm like, they're going to be going places, but they have no places to go yet because there's either too many people just still in F1 who aren't ready to leave, no space to come in, or people are picking, like you're saying, they're picking Albon, which I do like him, but yeah, I agree. If I could pick,
I think the life expectancy of some of the drivers is getting long. Like the where they're staying at the teams for ages, like because some of the drivers that are coming up through like rookies and stuff, like it's getting past the point of it being their chance because some drivers are staying in F1 for just too long.
Yeah.
Do you think that's becoming a problem? Like, do you think there needs to be more teams? Like you see, like the F2 and F3 grids. There's like 30 and 26 cars on the grid, like respectively.
Yeah.
It's hard to get into everyone. They make it way too hard to get into everyone. It's too money orientated.
I kind of like the fact that it's hard to get into F1 because you have to be a privileged driver. In terms of talent, not necessarily money, but yes, you have to be a privileged driver to deserve your way into F1 for a reason. That's why I don't mind it being at least 12 teams. Well, actually, at most 12 teams because
24 grid sounds.
24 grid makes sense.
I prefer a 24 grid.
I don't want it to go to like 15, 16 because then it just doesn't make it seem like you just pick and choose whoever goes into Formula 1 and they just like we're going back into like the 90s level of Formula 1 drivers. Like we had Takagi in there who was terrible, and you had Riccardo Rossi who famously had his name like switched around so it looked like it said TOSSER. So so you know, I mean.
Much better.
We don't want that. We just want, an actual concise grid that actually is, good quality drivers that actually can, be the best drivers in the world. So,
I do. I mean, yeah, I like this. The same with obviously we're going on to. I guess we can go on to this if you want as a topic of a lot of races, and it was 20 we liked. It used to be even 17, 18 was a good number, and then it came to 20, 21, 22, 23, and now obviously the talk of we could get
3-0.
I obviously don't think there was like we want 30, but it's not like if we wanted to we could get it. I like the idea when it's less saturated because then we lose that special factor of the entirety of F1. So I agree with that same thing with the teams. Shouldn't really have 15, 16, 20 teams because at that point it's
the logistics just become absurd at that point with that many races, that many teams getting them across that like the break becomes shorter. There's more races. You might even lose the summer gap. Like adding 8, 9, 10 more races to the season is quite a lot.
Yeah, there's a problem with the races. That situation of how many.
I think everyone's been completely negative about it. And again, I would love to play devil's advocate and say, again, I'd love to say, oh no, it's actually kind of a positive thing, but I agree it's kind of negative in a way. But I don't mind it being 30 Grand Prix.
Depending on what circuits they are.
Depending on what you're going to give. I mean, like, they have to, I understand, like, I understand the whole reasoning behind it, because they want to break the American market, one. They want Super Bowl, like, attendance audiences every single race, like Abu Dhabi. They want Abu Dhabi 21. Every single race. Every single 30. Like, if they have 30 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix...
They'd be happy, yeah.
That's like a gold mine. That's like everything. So I understand they want that, and they want that, like, you know, that spectacle of being special every single race for 30 races in the season. The problem is, you can't do that with 30 races in the season, because it loses its speciality of, or like its pressure. Like you go to a Grand Prix or watch a Grand Prix because, you know, you haven't seen one in so long. Like, everyone was so hyped up about Bahrain because we haven't seen a Grand Prix since, obviously, Abu Dhabi. So, you know, there was that special moment, and now we're going into Saudi Arabia already, not even thinking about, like, processing too much about Bahrain, and now we're just going to go Bahrain, then after that it's Australia, then go straight to Imola, then Miami. So to add another 5 more, 6 more Grand Prix, it's just crazy. I remember the days when 16 was like sounding like old, but you could. When 16 was
the amount of mistakes that you could make throughout a season and still make a possible comeback to win as well. Like you saw last season, you had like what? How many races did Max DNF last year? 4, 5, 4, something like that, and he still come back to win the championship. Like, you could genuinely DNF 1/3 of the races of a season if there's 30 races and still potentially come back and win the World Drivers' Championship.
Yes. Yeah, it's because I think, obviously, I mean, the owners, Liberty, are American based, and they're bringing US into F1 a lot more, and their format is big like Super Bowl things, like you were saying. So yeah, it's go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the thing is that, like, even though, like, they are American brand, like, owns the thing, the thing is, Formula One always wanted to break the American market since the beginning of time. So even, like, this is like their best opportunity to do it. If you have the Miami Grand Prix, the US Grand Prix in Texas, the Las Vegas Grand Prix, another Grand Prix in California, and another Grand Prix in the thing, it makes sense because America is so big. Like, having 5 Grand Prix in America makes a lot of sense because of how, like, big and commercialized every single Grand Prix is. But if you're gonna do that and then have another, like, the thing, you might as well just make an American series separately to Formula One and just call it Formula One USA or something, because then it's just like, it loses that appeal of the American market. I think, if anything, there should just be at least 3, at most 3 US Grand Prix, 1 in the West, Central, and East. And then just have a Grand Prix, the rest of the Grand Prix, and have only 21 Grand Prix. I think 21 is perfect. What other Grand Prix you probably want to lose is entirely up. I mean, 1 Grand Prix in Africa for sure. I mean, there has to be a Grand Prix in Africa.
Yeah, they have said about the Grand Prix in Africa,
yeah. I mean, Morocco, go back to Marrakesh if they wanted to, or go to, I don't know, Egypt or something. I think it'd be great if they have that as well, because it will be officially a World Championship for the first time ever. Well, for the first time in like 60 odd years, or whenever it was the last time they raced in Morocco. And yeah, just go there. And
opinions on more British circuits being added. Brands Hatch, you know. Because people in my chat saying about having like 3 British Grand Prix, like different circuits over England. I think that'd be silly. Some of the circuits in England just aren't made for F1 cars.
Just drop a race at Brands Hatch.
Watkins Glen, stick them over there for a bit. Views on that Las Vegas race at the dark, though. What do you think it's going to be good? Or no?
It's the thing is, like, I know they want to be adding all these races, but like, I think some of them will not be able. It's not going to be possible to make them all top tier stuff. Like all the ones we've added recently, I'm trying to think now. Jeddah maybe, but I mean, there's been an exception. But they've all just kind of fit the same sort of street circuit vibe. And there's not been too much special about each track you've gone to or each place. The special part is where you've gone to, not where you're, like, what you're actually racing on, what sort of track. So I'm worried, like, if you make all that a spectacle and then we just have a 90-degree track with just like 6 90-degree turns, that's not possible, you know, like that.
Yeah, be like IndyCar.
It's kind of got that level of desperation. If they're going to go to Las Vegas for a Grand Prix, it's kind of desperate, because like the last time they did that was in the 80s, and they
sectioned off car park. And
they raced in Caesar's Palace car park for a Grand Prix in America. I mean, like, that was the cheap way of doing it. But honestly, if they're going to make it a spectacle, then make it proper. I mean, like, the Las Vegas Strip is nice, but I don't think it's going to be a good Grand Prix. I think it's going to be terrible.
What you were talking about with me earlier before we started, the time as well. Like, it would be genuinely get up to watch the Grand Prix on a Monday morning at 3 a.m. and then do the school run.
in fairness, as a counter to that, just because I want to, I guess I'm playing devil's advocate now. Even any fans that are in Australia or that sort of part of the world have been doing that for years.
Yeah, they have.
They're definitely laughing at us, thinking, "Will we actually get a normal race?" But obviously, I'm from the UK, so I am on the side of I would rather not, do that, and then end up waking up, going to work the next day, and being like grogged. But yeah, that's weird. But I can.
I think it's like it's unlucky for them. It is unlucky for them because they have to do like almost half the Grand Prix season in like 4 in the morning, and it feels bad. Yeah, it sounds we sound like complete idiots.
Yeah, innit? We sound bad now. We're moaning about. Oh, cheers, Nange.
I just had to be nice. I had to be nice.
At 3 in the morning on Monday morning, and Australians
no.
been doing that
for the last year, as long as I can remember. Nange holding the torch for you lot. We got you.
So yeah, no.
I even like the waking up Monday waking up at that time is weird, but I do like the early morning races.
Can we just clarify that it wouldn't be waking up, because nobody would wake up for it. Every single person would stay up. I couldn't go to bed and then wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch the Grand Prix. I'd have to stay up.
Yeah, I'd still be awake.
Yeah, I'd just still be awake. I wouldn't wake up for it. I have to be awake already.
It's weird. I guess we'll see on that, but it's a weird one.
Yeah, I think
it'll be nice.
Yeah, I think if they're gonna go race in Las Vegas, sure, fine, why not? But like other tracks in the calendar, I mean, at least drop a track in the calendar that isn't useful or not necessary. Like, I don't see the issue. The issue I have is, why is Imola on the calendar, and why is that going to be there a permanent feature? I mean, Russia have torn up their contract completely because of obvious reasons, and you've got Jeddah changing completely from a whole different circuit. You've got like old school tracks are mentioning to come back, like Turkey, Malaysia is rumored to come back at some point. Who knows? And yeah, it's kind of a mess right now. The calendar is a mess, really.
Ever since the start of the pandemic, the races have really been changed a lot. Like fitted in wherever they can fit, and pretty much getting on whatever circuit will book them, just to try and fill calendars, really. But it'd be nice to sort of see it get a bit more uniformity about it.
I mean, there's the talks, and obviously we're trying to find a way to get around that of rotating some tracks, like a classic track that's Spa or something. I'm just throwing out as a name, and having that every couple.
That actually might not happen anymore, apparently.
Oh yeah. Big news on that.
The thing is, Spa might be dropped, and the problem this is what I mean, the calendar's such a mess that we don't know what's happening, because France and Spa are going to go, but then you have 5 American tracks rumored to happen, then you got 1 track in Africa, and then you have, so what are the other 6 Grand Prix that you're going to add onto this calendar? That makes no sense to me. So the calendar is just it's not formulaic in any way. It's just there you go, there's a calendar, good luck with that, bye.
Yeah, half of them are just there.
The wins, let's go, and that's the... I mean, if you look at it, we have 2 Italy races, pointless, just keep that Monza or just put Imola there, one or the other, it doesn't matter. Why do we have 2 Italy races? If you're gonna have 5 American tracks, fine, do it, but then, make them make sense. Don't put just put cities in there just for the sake of putting cities in there. Make it actual Grand Prix that people actually care about. Put Road America there, because that's a Grand Prix that people know. That's in Wisconsin. Do something different. Just putting Grand Prix in cities it's gonna be Vegas, it's gonna be Miami. It doesn't mean anything to anyone. It's
just building a track there just to host that Grand Prix randomly, just because it is a significant area. Use tracks that are already well established and used before, that we already know, that hold some sort of significant value to us. He's won this there before 10 years ago. I don't know.
America has some great tracks as well. There's a lot of great tracks that obviously EU market just doesn't know of if you haven't followed any of the sports there. So if they get to do some there, I don't know. Obviously, money and a name like Las Vegas or something sells more, I guess, but
more than Spa apparently, because
clearly.
I mean, understandably, last year at Spa was that shouldn't have been the Grand Prix, and
and what they even gave like the fans back? All they gave him was the chance to,
chance to win. Chance
to win a Grand Prix. No money back.
On TV.
And a subscription to a 12-month subscription to F1 TV, and entered to a chance to win more tickets to another race.
Yeah, the fans got violated.
They got.
Chance. Not just giving their money back.
They should have at least sent a postcard before getting violated like that. That is outrageous.
Took him to dinner.
Took him to dinner. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think the possibility of Spa is actually quite high because of because of what happened last year, and B, because money. Like, they don't have the funding as like another country would, and if they want, at the moment the Concord agreement is 24 races currently. If they add like Las Vegas, and they add like a country in Africa, and they add another country in Asia, let's say Malaysia, then a European track has to go, and France is one of them. It's almost certain that France is going to go at some point. And
I will definitely not be missing.
I will never ever miss that circuit either. It's so boring.
And Spa might go because again the funding is just not there. But
it's sad. It's sad, like how obviously every German track with Hockenheim, Nürburgring, the GP circuit. Like, obviously for a younger fan, I guess for me, like I wasn't as aware of like the history of all the German places and the fact it was going, but like Spa will definitely hit me, and yeah, it's gonna be weird to see those go, but money just runs F1. You can't get around that.
I can't wait to see another Singapore GP. I haven't seen it for so many years. I can't wait. I love that track. Oh,
this is my thinking for that.
That got a contract extension, didn't it? Like for another 3-4 more years.
Yeah, when we eventually get to see a race there again.
Unironically, China has a contract extension until 2025, so China's coming back next
Great
year.
Great track. I love China.
Yeah, it's just don't get me wrong. I kind of unpopular opinion. I do think Spa's a tad overrated, but I would be sad if Spa does go.
Yeah, I'm not coming on the overrated part. That did offend me a bit, but yeah, I agree.
Okay, name me. Okay.
I love the Spa Grand Prix personally as well. It's just it's always offers something.
What was the last good Belgian Grand Prix?
That wasn't part of the question.
Yeah.
Think about it.
It's true.
When was the last time there was a good race at Spa? Let's be honest.
Yeah. See, okay. I'm not even going to attempt to argue with this, but yeah.
2021 didn't exist. 2020, Hamilton ran away with it. 2019, Leclerc ran away with it. 2018, Vettel ran away with it. 17, Hamilton ran away with it. 16, Rosberg ran away with it.
The history does carry it a lot, and it's just too strong to me. It's just anything historic, and that's.
I just like that track. It's fun to watch. I just like the way the circuit is.
Like, I love seeing it in every motorsport. I've watching them. Yeah. It's right
like as a spectacle. I'd imagine as a spectacle.
Chatting Abu Dougie. Okay, Dougie.
But true though, like if you think about it, name the last good Belgian Grand Prix.
I can name you the best. I can name you the last best Belgian qualifying. What about race? I mean, the G Russ with the quali was pretty decent, but then we didn't get to see the race. So yeah, I can't even tell you a good Belgian race for a good few years either.
The last time it was a good Belgian Grand Prix was 2010, and that was 12 years ago, dude. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm actually 2010, and that was the last time it was good. And
Beats this says the year 2000 when Hakkinen overtook Schumacher.
22 years ago, yeah.
It's a short amount of time. I remember that back in my prime at the age of 4. Great year.
Belgium '98, because that was in the memory. I don't know. I don't hate Spa. I think probably going there probably be amazing, but for the racing, it's just not been good. So I could understand why they probably would drop it.
Yeah, but, you gotta eventually start getting rid of the
the old in with the new, yeah. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix. I mean, to be fair, Spa is broke. It's got a very, very, very bad flooding problem as of recent. So, but they did fix it. Monaco should go. You're crazy.
Monaco should go.
Why? Oh.
See, the thing is, this
no.
less of a connection with, but like, so I won't actually be arguing against. But
how dare they?
The same argument again.
Believe it or not, Monaco has produced a more interesting race than Spa in the last 10 years.
Monaco always produces an interesting race, though. I love it. I love it.
2016 and 2021. Well, actually, no, 2019.
Yeah.
So, like, Monaco's produced 2 good races in a time that Spa has not produced a single good race. Think about that.
The problem is, my thinking, I always try to like think of, is the track the reason it was like made a good race? And probably
the legacy.
It's not really. Yeah, like the legacy of Monaco is great, but those races like 2019, I did actually rewatch that not long ago. It's a great race, but I don't think the track did much to do that, and I could have probably seen a good race like that somewhere else. Monaco, I'm not happy to see go, but I don't know, it's too formulaic to me in the format of the race, and sometimes something happens and it works out. I think because it's a small street circuit, more often than not we get something weird. Danny Rick, obviously, with the ERS failure, well, brake failure, whatever it was, having to back up Lewis against Max 19 stuff.
If I had to pick any race to leave the calendar, I despise watching Bahrain as well. I think it's so boring. I don't like. Just for me, I just don't like that track. I don't like the way it flows. I don't like watching it at night. There's just nothing about the Bahrain Grand Prix to me that I like watching.
I think the Grand Prix
It's just the track. It's the track. I dislike the track. The energy about the racing's amazing. I just don't like the track. I don't know why. Just for me.
Spain, honestly.
Spain, you reckon?
Yeah, like Spain's terrible for racing. I think, like Catalonia is just not a good track. I mean, there's better.
Cam said earlier, he said the Valencia circuit in Spain is better than the Catalonia. But I don't personally know what the Valencia circuit is.
Well, that's in Valencia, dude.
Oh, what?
It's a good, Valencia street circuit is a street circuit in Valencia.
Valencia street circuit.
They ask you how you are, you say that you're fine, when you're not really fine, you just can't.
I thought someone was going straight on the
Valencia street circuit is like, doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist, yeah.
It's a street. The street exists. But yeah, no, okay, yeah. Well, if we're talking the actual track, then.
Well, I should pull my pants back up after that one. I just let them pull down and not knowing where that was. But I personally like the Spain Grand Prix. I like the Spain circuit. I like Catalonia. I think it's a great circuit. But it's all opinion based, isn't it, on who likes what Grand Prix? Some people feel the energy.
Who likes Spain? That's the thing.
I do.
You only liked it because Verstappen won the first ever Grand Prix. That's literally the only reason. If it wasn't Verstappen winning that, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't even like it.
Alright, I'm a Verstappen Chad, but I'm not that much of a Verstappen Chad. It is great. Alright, I might be that much of a Verstappen Chad. I might be.
Still up at the current moment in time. Yeah, it's a lot of Red Bull.
It is a lot of Red Bull. It is a lot of Red Bull.
I don't know. Dougie's got the mindset. He's got the proper mindset of just like like looking at it as the track and of the actual racing. Whereas my head, it cannot turn off the side of. I mean, I'm sure Dougie's just as in love with F1 as like all of us are, obviously. But I can't turn off.
I love Spa. I love Spa. Yeah. I love the track. It's just hasn't produced the racing in 10 years. I'm being like honest about that. Like people have rose in the glasses like Spa's amazing, and it is. P1's amazing. Rouge to Radion, everyone knows that. Camel Straight, whatever. Yes. Blanchimon all the way going to the bus stop. Amazing. Memories, yes. Nostalgia, yes. But it hasn't produced good racing in like 10 years. And it's understandable that like people will say, oh yeah, you're with like pitchforks and like fires and saying, how dare you say Spa's terrible? But like the racing hasn't been good. And you know, that's not. I think that's a generational car problem. It could change this year, but yeah, like memorably, like none of the races have been good in Spa, and they've not been memorable. Like,
yeah, I do think a fair amount of people just do have. I'll admit, sometimes those glasses are
reputational legacy, isn't it? We just don't want to let it go because we've seen it for that long.
You've seen it for that long, and you've seen so many like history, like obviously the crash in Schumacher in '98, and like Raikkonen going full blast through Rouge into Radion into Camel Straight with like sparks of like the wall of cloud of smoke from like another car. Yeah, we've seen that, but you know, I think Spa is kind of starting to show its age a bit.
Someone said, is it a car thing or is it a car thing or a track thing though? that makes it boring.
We need to find out this year. If it's the cars, then yeah, I think this is probably his last opportunity, or else it's gone.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work in these 22 cars, it didn't work in the last generation cars, yes, and it didn't really work in the V8 era cars, then yeah, I could see it go, and I'm sad, but at the same time, it's understandable.
I'll be sad to see Spa go, but it needs to progress. Everything progresses. New things come, old things go. It could end up being an incredible circuit replacing it, and it could give us an amazing Grand Prix over the next few years that Spa just haven't been giving us. You don't know. All right.
Any more questions? I have a few more if you do want to delve in, but I don't want to.
Will Hamilton ever win an 8th World Championship?
I knew this was coming up.
I've had the bear poked for the last few hours. Will Hamilton get his number 8?
As a fairly strong Lewis fan when it comes to actually everything going on and stuff, but as a very, I'm knowledgeable about the fact there's a lot of good young drivers and that it can't be that good forever, the teams. I can see it not happening. I can see the 8th not coming, and I don't not want it to happen, obviously.
I respect that.
That's it, but I just, we've had all the young generation start to come up. Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, and now we're getting Lando, George, and plenty of others that I'm just going to forget names of, Pierre Gasly and so on.
He's going to have to work very hard.
Yeah, very hard. He will. I think if he was given it the chance this year, he will. But I think there's a lot. There's a lot riding, and I don't know how long he's going to want to keep fighting on for it. If he does, fair play. But it's too tricky to the point where I don't think he's sticking around that long to try it. I think he'll bow out soon. He's definitely done enough. And
as a follow-up to that question, do you think anybody will ever match it within our lifetimes? Do you think anybody will match Schumacher's record or match how many Lewis Hamiltons or get close to that amount again within our lifetimes?
I'm going bold and saying eventually yes, and I'll even bold and say maybe not multiple times.
Multiple.
But at least, see, I'm saying at least one more time. Let's say someone might get up to 6.
Records are there to be broken. Yeah, they are.
There is enough young talent in there, but again, the problem is if there's all that young talent at once, how do you get a chance for one of them to just take over? But I mean, we didn't expect Mercedes to just kick off the blocks of the hybrid era and say that. And I mean, like, I'm thinking now, Schumacher's run was what, 2000, the last part of his run, 2000s till mid 2000s, and 10 years later, it's just over 10 and a bit. It got done again. We're going to be around for a while unless we're all dipping out of the world in like 4 years. I think we're going to see it get close at least a couple times. If not,
do you think it'll be one of the drivers on the grid now that does it?
It could.
You got to take into account the rookies that are on there as well. One of them drivers is on the grid now. Do you think it'll be one of them to do it and take it through, or do you think it's going to be someone that just comes out from F2, F3 out of nowhere that does it within our? Because like you got to think about it, like some of them F2 drivers maybe what 10 years younger than us. F3 maybe around that bracket as well. So we're not old men. Do you know what I mean? So do you think it's going to be them F2 drivers that do it, or someone on the grid now?
Someone. All zone.
I'm gonna say that. First question: will Hamilton win his 8th? Yes. Second question is, do I think someone else will win it? Beat it? Yes. Do I think it's going to current grid? Yes. The other person is Verstappen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm alright with
that.
The momentum, and
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest, and I think Verstappen is probably the closest person to. I mean, he's a generational driver. I think he's the closest person to even have a chance of like getting to any of the records that Hamilton and Schumacher have had. I think he'll be the second person to break 100 wins, honestly. But whether or not he'll win 7 or 8 championships is going to be tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's probably the closest one that I could think of that will probably do it, and he's got the greatest chance to obliterate every single record that we see. And whether or not he will do it,
down to him.
It's down to
the car he's given,
and the contracts and it's history all situational. So yeah, he's the only one I can think of that could do it. And if he doesn't do it, then I don't know who will for the next 20 odd years.
No money on Charles in there, no.
No, I can't see Charles doing that. No, I think Charles is good, but he's not Verstappen level. Nowhere near. I think I don't think he's anywhere near Verstappen level. I'll be honest. If you look at the performances he did in the Ferrari last year, doesn't really like scream to me that he can do well in like.
I guess we'll see that more this season. I guess you'll be able to judge that sort of thing that once we get them level. But I can sort of go on that. But I feel like I don't want to say Charles Leclerc's not delivered as much, but because I feel like the car's just mastered a bit as well recently with Ferrari.
I think we're kind of hyping Charles Leclerc in a sense because obviously he's been Ferrari's kid for like years, and I think with that it's the same with it's kind of like the same hype with Verstappen.
Yeah,
is trying to push with that same hype with Ferrari. I think it's a tough sell with Leclerc than it is with Verstappen, and especially with Verstappen, they're going together at it at the same time. It's kind of obvious that Verstappen will win more championships than Leclerc, I think, anyway. And the only way I could see Verstappen not winning as many championships is because he's just had bad career decisions, and Red Bull just haven't delivered the car that they hoped they would, and that's the only way I could see it. Like Ferrari, the only way Leclerc will win multiple championships is if Ferrari all of a sudden get their act together and actually deliver cars like they did back in the early 2000s again, and I don't see that happening either. So it's difficult to say. And I mean, if you could look at like races as well that they've battled together, and 9 times out of 10, Verstappen has won them. Won all of them.
I don't think Leclerc's aggressive enough. I just think he backs out too easily. I don't think he's got that.
Austria 2019 is all you need to know, to be honest. Like if you watch Austria 2019, Verstappen was just on another level.
Pushed him, forced him out of his position. I just don't think Leclerc's got the fight. I don't think he'll put his car in the positions where he needs to put them to come out of the corner in front when he's put under a little bit of pressure. I think every time a nose is stuck up the inside of him, he backs out of it, and as it's clearly been proven, it's happened every single time. So we saw it at Silverstone. He backed out as soon as he saw same race happen to Max. As soon as Hamilton stuck his nose up the inside, Hamilton's wide, Leclerc's wide, little squiggle.
I'd say honestly, Sainz is more comparable to Leclerc than Leclerc is comparable to Verstappen. Honestly, I think if you look at it in the whole thing, like Sainz is way more consistent than Leclerc was last season. He beat Leclerc to the championship last season, and a lot of people forget. And a lot of people forget about that because obviously Abu Dhabi, but he beat Leclerc in the championship, and and that was his first season, Sainz.
Yeah, first season Ferrari,
and and I think Sainz is just way more consistent than Leclerc. I personally think that, and I think obviously Leclerc's qualifying is very good. Nowhere near Verstappen's level of qualifying, but it's still good. But it's just his race pace is just not as consistent enough for me to say he can win multiple world championships. That's all I can say for him.
There you go. That's my question list, Nange.
All right. Well, I will bring in one more that I think is good at least. It's a different question. It's more of a speculative one. Obviously we have 2-car teams right now. No one has no one runs to more than 2 cars. The whole F1 for ages has been each team has 2.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously we've had that solution of just add more teams in, gets more drivers in. Do you ever reckon F1's gonna even
3 cars?
3-car teams.
Wow, what a proposal!
I know F1's been trying they've tried new stuff recently, obviously with adding sprints in, or we're going to be trying probably loads more stuff, but they seem more open to trying that sort of thing. That's a way bigger change than just saying add a sprint race in.
Are they going to widen the track to put like 3 starting positions, or are they going to put them all one behind the other?
Well, the thing is, we've had 3-car team discussion before many times before, and they all come up with the same problem. How is the championship going to work? What are you going to do with the other teams? Do they also score points? How's the constructors going to work? There's so many factors. The cost cap is just going to add on to that. Teams are going to survive to it, and who will accept a 3-car team? We had this issue in 2015. And I think back then, when F1 was at its probably its lowest it's ever been, it was like, well, what do you do with 3-car teams? It made no sense. I personally disagree with it. I think it's a bit stupid, because you're just like, you could use your test drivers or reserve drivers with them, but you can't. It's kind of
everything
like
gets a bit odd. Yeah, everything is a bit odd.
Yeah.
As amazing as a proposal as it is, like personally, I think it'd be incredible to see 3-car teams, but just the way it'd work is, it's a lot to think about.
Yeah, it's been a mess.
It fits on my, like, the scale of how I was saying with too many races and too many teams, the saturated vibe, and it loses a bit. I feel like, that at that point, as much as I'd like to see that it work out, if you could take that idea into F1, I just don't think that idea fits. I don't think it has its place to be in an F1, to have 3-car team. It's cool. If they ever made it work, fair play, but I don't see it. It's a cool idea to think about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's difficult to say whether or not they'll add that. I don't think they'll ever do. I think they'll probably just try and hope for 13 teams at best, and just hope for the best for that. I don't know.
I do like that F1 is just trying more stuff right now. As much as I don't like,
it's just trial and error. Yeah. They're trial and erroring a lot though.
Yeah, but they've done that. They've been doing it recently. Like the very first thing they trial and error was, I don't know if you guys ever watched F1 in 2016, but was the
I was around.
Do you remember elimination qualifying?
That was a brilliant qualifying system. Absolutely adored.
Did you like it? Did you actually like it?
No.
I am actually being. I thought I liked it. I liked it. It was pretty good.
Sorry, did I miss? I must have missed that. Did they what?
The concept
did they just keep knocking the last car out on a lap? Sorry, I'm gonna need this. I must have missed this. The what? Sorry.
I believe it was
no.
Every 90 seconds. So it was the same Q2, Q1, Q2, Q3 format, but I think every 90 seconds, after a certain point, the lowest ranked car would be knocked out. So let's say it was for Q2 to Q3. So then 15th would be out, 14th, then 13th, then 12th, then 11th. But
right, yeah. Wow.
All it resulted in was just cars being caught out timing-wise, and half of them not being out driving for half of it, because you just knew there's no time. With 90 seconds left, I can't even get back round to do another lap.
Yeah.
It was. I like them trying it, but at that point, I wasn't ready for changing that. The format we have was perfect already. There was no need to apply that.
There was absolutely no need. It was a terrible. I mean, I'd like to swear, but I'd say it was absolutely terrible.
You want to hit the Vettel? What did you think of it?
Can I hit with it?
Yeah, hit it. No, I thought it was bullshit.
Bullshit. Anyway, it was a dog shit idea, and nah. Then they did what? Sprint qualifying.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I still it is this year. It's happening this year in 3 races.
Not a sprint race, though. Well, it's not even a sprint race, just a sprint. Yeah, same thing.
I think it's a terrible idea. I don't like the idea of sprint qualifying format.
I
think it's terrible. But the thing is, I think there's been such a positive reception to it that I think they're just going to keep it in some place, and
I mean,
no one's really said anything against it. In like the reason why I think it's probably going to stay is that no one said anything against about it, and I'm probably going to be like, the reason why I think it's terrible is because it's just not interesting. The races are terrible. Like, the sprint qualifying format races are kind of terrible because all it does is say, okay, if you beat that person off the line, you're going to get pole position, which isn't the correct way of qualifying on pole. It should be the fastest car on the grid that day. Take pole position.
I'm glad this year has changed, where it's just qualifying that pole stats sorted, and then the sprint is now just left to do.
I'm very unhappy about the tyre rule from Q2 being removed, though. Absolutely mortified about that. I used to love that rule because it played so much more into the strategy of the race. There was so many more outcomes of thinking that they have to take that tyre through to the race. Like, what can be the consideration? But I don't know. I used to like that rule. I don't know how you guys felt about that, but I really, really like the Q2 tyre rule. I think it's because now everybody starts on softs, and it's just you don't really see the strategies form now. It's just whatever comes through the radio, and you can sort of predict, like, oh yeah, everyone's starting on softs, like they're all going to start to box around this lap. I don't know. I don't like it.
It's kind of like I did like the same. I like the idea that, especially because obviously we had such a big gap between top 3 teams or top 2, depending on what year it was, to the rest, McLaren, Alpine or Renault, whatever it was back then. So any of those teams thinking, okay, if the top team wants to have a medium tyre, we can take a risk going a soft and possibly knock one of them out. That sort of thing I liked, because it kind of, if a top team was trying to risk something like that, they could get punished if they messed it up. That sort of thing I liked, because like, if you're going to take the risk, fair play. If you get it done, it's fine. But yeah, the fact that's been taken away is weird, but then if they fix that by just having them all close together, I guess that doesn't matter anymore. So I don't mind if it's gone and then we just have all the teams close like they want. If we get to that in a couple of years once developments start to plateau a bit, but I will miss it for a little bit, but I think it will be fixed soon.
It's funny because like 2016 also introduced the Q2 rule, which also introduced the elimination qualifying thing at the same time. The Q2 rule is one of the best ideas they've ever made, followed by one of the worst ideas they've ever made, elimination qualifying. But yeah, the Q2 rule was such a good rule because it made 15 cars going completely different strategies. Like you had maybe top 10s on soft or mediums, and you had the top 11. Yeah, they were always going to change the tires, but they probably were going to have the ability to go by the hard, soft, medium, whatever. And it just made up the strategies like anything could happen. It was like a free for all, and it was nice.
Yeah.
I think it made more sense just to keep it. I don't see the need to change it because everyone also just go like we saw in the race. Like Leclerc was on fresh softs, and Verstappen was on new softs, and they didn't really make much of an interesting thing. Like it just made it kind of boring. Like the race was kind of just mid.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I'm not gonna hold you. The 2022 Bahrain Grand Prix was slightly overrated because obviously it's the new cars and everything, but overall that Grand Prix was kind of mid.
I will happily agree. It's just I mean it's always going to be higher just because it's the first race back. There's too much stuff we're saying new that we're gonna the actual quality of the race is gonna be low on our priority list, and I
expected more like crashes and safety car. I didn't expect anything until like. Because it was only like right near the end of the race that we had something actually genuinely happen that brought out a yellow flag. Until that, it was nothing. There was nothing at all that happened during that race until like lap 53 or whatever it was. Until they eventually brought out like the first yellow flag for a little bit of action. I thought that we were actually going to see the first race that didn't even see a safety car. Because I remember putting up a poll at the start to see what sort of people's safety car predictions were going to be for that race, and everybody expected them to be pretty high because of like. They saw how unreliable some of the cars were in the testing. But to see some of the cars do that many laps and not actually have a yellow flag for quite a while. Like the only little sniff of an issue we saw was when Mick Schumacher got spun round on like lap 1 or whatever it was. But until then, even that was a quick pirouette. He was back going again. It really wasn't as much contact or anything.
See, I'm thinking like for reliability things, I know a lot of teams like not a lot of teams, sorry. A lot of people assume a new regulation change, something's going to like change that much that everyone won't be able to get on top of it for ages, and everyone's engines blowing up or their cars are failing and stuff. But I think people are forgetting as well that we have pretty much the exact same engines we've had since 2014. They're all barely identical. They've changed obviously and got better and been pushed harder, but from that side, there's nothing to change, so they're probably not worried about that. And anything else, if it fails, it's just because they're pushing it, and they've probably been pushing the fairly same sort of systems for years now. The difference we got was never going to really affect reliability to me until we get new engine stuff, which as far as I don't know if it's even going to change a lot of the power unit. I don't think we're going to get like 2014 levels where half of the cars really didn't know if they was going to finish the race because they didn't really know what was happening. Until we get a new power unit change, I don't think we're going to have that sort of spectacle.
No.
Yeah, I agree. I think I kind of lost track a bit, but yeah, I think I agree. Like the 2022 changes will eventually come in and hope, and I think maybe eventually at some point, like I could be completely wrong and say like maybe these regulations are the best things since sliced bread, but I personally think. They're okay. These regulations are a good step forward to what they want, but the problem is that like teams will want to be at the front all the time, and they would want to be the fastest, and whether or not that increases the lap time a lot more, and that will start to increase more of the turbulent wake that they had the issues. Would it go back to the levels of 2021 again, time will tell, because teams will forever improve that car in terms of how they want to like channel the air, and whether or not that actually makes it, you know, more harder for them to follow because they're just making their cars better is we'll have to find out and wait and see. So yeah, that's sort of point just putting out there, but yeah.
Alright, well, I think that's all me done for questions.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Should we move on to what we think our predictions are going to be for going to the next Grand Prix? Or what would you like? What section would you like to move on to?
Of course, we can't forget to predict Jeddah somehow, which I think. Well, I mean, like I've been saying, I think these next races, each one will be not unpredictable. We know top teams and stuff, but I don't think it'd be easy to predict like the podium, etc. So I'm interested to see what all you guys are going to say in this.
I obviously I want the Red Bull Honda Retribution, like I keep calling them Honda engines, and they're sort of Honda under the guidance of Red Bull. Yeah,
it's Honda with a badge.
Yeah, Honda with a badge, pretty much.
I know it's RBPT, but
yeah,
it's Honda.
Yeah, it's a Honda engine. So yeah, obviously I want to see him pull back a pole at Jeddah. Like obviously after seeing what the almost glory lap of last year, going in as a Red Bull fan, I want to see him absolutely stonk 6 tenths out of it and put that lap together that I wanted to see from last year. But he's in a completely different bit of kit. So obviously I want the boys on pole 1, 2. Ferrari, I think they're going to have a fantastic time again. They looked fast. So I'm going to say Verstappen on pole for qualifying. I'm going to go Leclerc P2. And I think Mercedes are going to sort some of their problems out. I genuinely think we're going to see either George Russell or Lewis Hamilton on P3 with K-Mag or on P4. That's my prediction going into qualifying.
I'm gonna say Ferraris are probably going to be strong because the high-speed corners. Were they good in the high-speed corners?
I think it was the way around as far as I know.
Yeah, all around they were great. Yeah, all round.
I don't really know at this point. I'm speculating too much, but yeah,
I watched the entire race. The Ferrari looked fantastic from start to finish. In high speed, low speed braking, it just looked balanced. It didn't really look out of shape. Like it wasn't complaining. It just looked. It wasn't as quick as it probably could have been. It just looked very consistent. Very consistent.
I'm gonna say with that thought. Then, if they are good in the high speed corners, because I think the Red Bulls weren't as good in I think they were good in the high speed corners, but the Ferraris. Anyway, so if that was the case, then I'm gonna say Sainz is probably going to win the race from Verstappen to Leclerc, and Hamilton will finish P4.
I like this prediction because this is slightly similar to mine, because I feel like the top 3, well, Leclerc, Sainz, and Verstappen, I think are going to be fairly interchangeable for the first few.
I feel like I haven't done fine justice. Oh.
I'm also going to go with Sainz for the win, but I will go with Max second and Charles Leclerc third. I think.
Basically my prediction.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to revisit mine.
Mine was set in my head from a while ago. I don't know what. I just believe in Carlos Sainz to just deliver something. I feel like he's close enough to Charles Leclerc to do that, and then I just think Max will just be obviously hot on his heels. And Charles Leclerc can't far away.
Mine is based on the fact that Ferrari are quicker around the high-speed corners. If the Red Bull are faster, then it's not that prediction. I think it'd probably be then Verstappen, Sainz, Perez, because then it would make more sense. So it depends on whether the Ferrari is good at the high-speed corners, whether it be Red Bull or Ferrari, double podium for me. That's basically how I see it.
Yeah.
I feel like I've done Sainz an injustice, so I believe it. Yeah, it's going to be Verstappen, probably Leclerc, and then Hamilton or Russell, and then I'm going to put Sainz in P4.
I mean, it's fair. Like we always think, like, despite how Mercedes obviously now in the mud. Well, you can't count them out. Everyone never counts them out.
Nah, you can't. They've been known to just pull something out of the bag all the time out of random.
I do think it's safe to count them out for at least the first couple of races, but yeah, I know it's in everyone's head to do it.
Dougie.
I read that, and I'm just moved down.
I saw Dougie's face light up. I need to know why.
Someone said he looks like Morpheus from Matrix with those glasses on.
Hey, look, I'm not. I mean, yeah.
Here in my stream, you have to go to Dale's stream and see. Listen, yeah. Now that's been said.
I was looking at
Hold on. Hold on.
So if you don't wear that in your streams often, I don't know, but like that now has to like be a channel point thing to just you need a full setup to look like Morpheus now.
Hold on.
You're already halfway there.
Oh, this is Lawrence Fishburne, this guy. Yeah, I'm not gonna look like Lawrence Fishburne.
Oh, that's funny. Shout out to whoever said that. But yeah, I think that's my prediction then. Anyway.
Hey yo.
Stop it. That's almost there.
Oh no.
Let's go for that.
I mean, I like
they are great. I think they're
I
fantastic.
forever change these. I'll forever keep the glasses for my streams now. Damn.
I'm a big fan of the glasses.
Have to be.
Yeah, I'm there. That's my prediction put forward. Then I'm gonna have to write that down, and we're gonna have to see how we all do on those predictions going into the weekend.
Yeah, I can. I'm expecting at least. To be honest, I reckon we're all gonna be surprised by something. All of us will have something massively wrong. At least one position. I don't know what.
The worst part is I'm gonna miss qualifying. I have to go to a wedding on Saturday. So I'm gonna be that dude that's in the back of the wedding hall watching qualifying on my phone and just being like, yeah, in the middle of like I do's and that. I'm gonna be at the back screaming about qualifying.
If it's happening at some pole or something.
Yeah, I didn't even know I was going to a wedding until yesterday, so that's gonna be fun.
Max gets on pole. He just has to like, oh, excuse me for a second. Closes the church door behind him outside.
Yeah, it's complete silence. I'm gonna have to take headphones and sort of do what you did in school, where you sort of fed it up your arm and put it in the palm of your hand and just sit there in class like.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're in for a good race. We're definitely gonna be in for a good one. Be different.
I mean, it's gonna be tough to see whether or not it's gonna be a good race because I think. If Jeddah's a very fast track. I suppose, will it be a good race? I don't know. But they are changing it next year. I don't know if we talked about that, but they are changing Jeddah next year, so it's going to be at Cridia. I can't say the name. Apologies if I butcher names. But yeah, it's a 34 corner circuit.
I was gonna say it's 30 plus. Yeah, I refuse to talk about that without because I will get upset with. I've seen the track layout. I need to see some on board.
If you can put up the track layout, but it's basically like Suzuka on steroids.
Yeah,
it's a track, that's for sure.
yeah. I'll leave it at that. It's just
dangerous. All right, what would you like to move into? I think we're pretty much nailed on.
I think we've pretty much nailed it, but I think we've kind of forgot to talk about like one thing, and that's mainly just to upset you, Dale.
Oh yeah, Red Bull.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Somehow after this whole time we managed to escape.
What was that, Mum? I'm just coming. Right.
Red Bull's and how they were dog shit with their engines and etc.
An entire double DNF.
Sorry, what was that?
Imagine going an entire Grand Prix and like thinking you're going to win it, only to have a double.
Right, can we just clarify one of the most embarrassing moments that happened during this entire period? Right, Mr. Nange himself posted on Twitter about the race and like something, and I commented on it, and I was like, "Oh, we know." No, he was like, I can't remember what he said, but I was like, "Oh, we know what Verstappen's like from P2. He wins at Bahrain. I'll be back later to gloat." Before I could even go back, Nange tagged me like, "God, this aged well." I was like, oh, mate.
I went back, I was like, as soon as I remember it happening, I was like, I'd calm down, I was like, I'm going to that tweet. I need to make sure that remembers what he's saying.
Boys, I was getting poked and prodded for a solid half hour after that. Obviously as a opinion of a Red Bull fan, absolutely pure devastation. It was a great fight all the way through.
We didn't talk about like the suspected pump issue, but not pump issue malarkey that no one seems to know about. Basically, for the uninitiated, basically, the situation is that people thought it was a fuel pump failure for both the cars, but what's led to believe is that it wasn't a fuel pump issue because the manufacturer that makes the fuel pumps, because it's a standardized part, basically means that it hasn't got it was fine for every single team. The only issue that was one with McLaren, where McLaren had an issue with their fuel pump, but every other team was fine. So with the Red Bulls, it was just seen as some seen it as Perez as a full-on engine failure, and they don't know what part of the engine it failed on. And with Verstappen, he was just starting to lose power with his system. So it could have been one could be full engine MGK failure and one could be full engine failure. And yeah, so they don't know what the issue is. And obviously Gasly as well. When he retired, he had an electrical fire.
Yeah, electrical fire.
So there are teething problems with the Red Bull engine and the powertrain in general.
Regardless of what the issue is, there is an issue.
There is definitely an issue.
The thing is, I'm fairly certain, at least with whatever happened to both Red Bulls this Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, I'm pretty certain that's an easy, not an easy fix. I have no.
As a Red Bull fan, I'm more mortified that it gave Hamilton a podium.
Oh yeah, fun fact: Karma was trending in the Grand Prix as soon as that happened. By the way, just gonna say that.
I noticed that.
Karma and something else was trending. I can't remember, but yeah, that was a heavy trend. I wonder why.
I wanted to cry. When I saw, like, because the way the camera panned on Perez's one, he was already past the camera shot, and then Lewis come out, and then you heard the commentary reaction before you saw in the car. Oh, Perez is round, and then sheer utter wash of dread. It was awful. Awful.
Yeah. Yeah, having to go a podium, and it was like, you know.
K-Mag though, great upside for him though.
I mean, it wasn't for that. Guanyu Zhou would
have got points, yeah.
Yeah. So, it's funny. It's a feel-good story for like the entire grid except Red Bull.
Yeah, all right, mate. Yeah.
Like Ferrari won 2, happy. Mercedes got a podium when they didn't think it was happy. Matt Haas got a top 5 finish, happy. Alfa Romeo, P6.
Let's not forget how many Mercedes.
A lot of happy moments.
Let's not forget how many Mercedes engine cars were at the back of the grid for one point. Thank you.
Yeah, and Mercedes engine car got a podium. Happy.
It's true.
They did. Right, this weekend we're going to be. These lot are going to be eating their words because Mercedes are going to have a double DNF and what have you, and Red Bull are going to win and watch. I guarantee it. I'm going to eat my words again from a tweet from Nange on that one.
Someone clip that. So we can.
Yeah. So make sure I will. If that is true, I will come back with the clip if something opposite happens. Don't worry. Be the first thing played.
Right. Red Bull will not DNF this weekend. There you go. And if they do now, I'm going to look like a right anus.
There'll be like if Red Bull double DNF again. And there'll be huge questions about that.
If Red Bull double DNF again, I'm going on holiday for a week.
And I'm just like, what did you do? What did you do to your engine? I mean, to be fair, like the thing is, the issue they've also got is that they wanted this engine freeze, and the problem is that they can't fix reliability too much with engine freezes.
As far as I know, you can.
You can only do a certain amount, but you can't do like certain things to fix reliability. So if it is actually a fundamental issue that they can't change. Yikes.
I'd assume whatever. I hope. I'm hoping just for the spot in the championship fight that it's not bad. But then my side of now I know Dale might be slightly unhappy with the result. Could be funny to see the reaction on the podcast. But I will go on that side.
Yeah, if it's double down, they can fix the engine issues then.
Yeah.
Please, for the love of God.
Maybe we should go for Mercedes engines. Oh wait.
Oh, I'm leaving. No.
Imagine after all this
Stop it! If I ever see those words come out of Christian Horner's mouth, we're gonna have to choose to side with Red Bull, Mercedes engines this year. Oh my God! I think that'll be raptures in the F1 scene. That'll be like going back to Renault. Just can't do it now. You just can't do it.
I'm waiting for it now. I'm waiting for it.
Oh my God! Watching 2025, they're going to be taking out Mercedes engine contracts at Red Bull. And every single one of these signs is going to have a little Mercedes logo in the corner, just so.
The thing is, they might, because like it's a transitional period, if anything, the Red Bull engine program thing, because they're hoping for Audi or something. Or
Porsche, so one of them
Porsche,
to take over.
If like the whole Red Bull powertrain thing is fully transitional, it's not a permanent thing. I can't see them like forever holding onto that engine for the next 5 years and saying, oh yeah, once like Porsche or something come in, they'll just jump on that immediately. I can't see that. Ever changing?
No. I hope they do though.
So, yeah. Nah, I can't. Yeah, I agree. I can't see it still. It's more. I mean, I've said everything. I'm just going to end up repeating the words.
Yeah.
Yep. Red Bull are in blood with their engines if they can't fix it. There we go.
Red Bull will come out swinging next week. Well, this weekend they'll come out swinging and prove you all wrong. Watch. I'm a confident Red Bull fan. I was a confident Red Bull fan last week as well until after the race. I wasn't a confident Red Bull fan, but yeah, built the confidence back up again now. Seeing the engine failures. All right, where would you like to move from here?
I'm trying to think. I've pretty much covered most of what I had wrote down. I think.
Everything I've written down on my notepad is also covered.
Yeah.
I guess Haas. If you want to talk about them, or McLaren again.
We did kind of slide over McLaren. I was trying to not.
We didn't talk about McLaren, so
yeah, Nange. We didn't talk about McLaren, Nange. McLaren is doing really good, Nange.
From one pain to the all right.
For me to sit back and enjoy this.
So let's start about their absolutely right. One thing I want to clarify: they've used different composite metals to cool their brakes than any other team. It's like they've gone with like copper or something. I don't know, mate. When they took their wheels off, it's different. Dougie, what's the knowledge?
Okay, so basically, from the Spain test, they were running the carbon brakes and they were fine because they were running it in the cold temperatures. They were able to hold the brakes longer and there wasn't many braking zones. But when they got to Bahrain, they kind of miscalculated how bad the brakes were going to be and struggled the entire of the second test in Bahrain and was never able to fix it. So what they did was change from carbon shrouding to metal shrouding and open up the brake cooling, which made them worse aerodynamically efficiently, causing more drag, meaning they were slower.
Because I saw...
At least the brakes are cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So we fixed one problem. Let's take the positives. Forget the position on the grid.
I mean, they must have been doing bad.
They fixed that problem. Next, the other problem is that they're incredibly slow when they do that. And now here they are quarreling 18th and 19th with the Williams and Haas. No, not Haas. Aston Martin. So yeah.
But Lando Norris's interview after was absolutely sterling. I mean, he took it on board like a chin, and it was just a complete banter interview about the position of the car.
I do love how like the driver. To be fair, just modern day, most of the drivers now will also happily get on with it, and you know they'll be able to take on the chin and keep going with it, despite how bad it probably can be. Despite
what DTS make them out to be and the amount of rivalries they make out.
Yeah, they're actually all pretty normal sound people.
I hate Drive to Survive. I honestly hate Drive to Survive, by the way, off topic, but
second that.
Yeah, I'm on the bad side of it now.
Yeah, I was on the good side of it, season 1, 2, and a little bit of 3, but after season 4 and watching how much misplaced audio and how many Honda engines are put in F1 cars that don't have Honda engines, and mate,
I liked it.
That bit where. Do you see the bit with George Russell where they cut the audio together? It's like from 6 different entire periods of F1, and they've just like trimmed it into one line. When he was, let's not get this could go on.
Yeah, we could make a whole separate one on that.
We'll pin that topic for later. Anyway,
yeah.
With McLaren, like their issue is with their brakes, and obviously Ricardo had COVID, so it didn't help with any of the situations that they had, and like ultimately they were just quarreling.
Just muted on Discord. Tom, thank you very much for coming in for the raid. Sorry, I'm trying not to overtalk too much because of other people's streams, but yeah, Tom, thank you very much for the raid, bro. Appreciate it.
For same with Mercedes at top, you can see them coming back and stuff. And McLaren have probably the resources too, but I'll play the devil's advocate even as a fan. Everyone will probably be finding that something and improving up the grid. So what's to say everyone just improves at the same rate? McLaren don't gain as much as we want them to, and they stay kind of around there. I don't believe that'll be the case, but yeah, I want to immediately just say it might be a tough season the entire way around, not just for the start, which I'm prepared for because I know how F1 works. But yeah,
I think with McLaren, it looked like it was going to be like, oh, McLaren are decent. Like they were first test, we were like, oh, they had a decent test. They looked pretty good. They were comparable to Ferrari. Like McLaren's and Ferraris were trading times. It looked good. And then we get to Bahrain. Obviously, I think that was just straight up a bogey circuit. And to be fair, Bahrain isn't really a test track. I think it's more of all about rear traction, all about the bumps, all about tire. It's about killing tires, that track.
Yeah.
So I don't think it suited that car that well. But I think get to Bahrain, getting to Jeddah where it's a bit more of a smooth service, There's not many breaking points. It's a lot about the high-speed corners, which Spain has a lot of. I think they'll be back. I think McLaren will be back this weekend, and I think they'll probably finish within the top 10. I don't think Bahrain showed true potential of that car at all. I think it was just all the bad things that happened to that car all rolled into one, and it just was a mess. So I think they'll come back in Bahrain. I mean, KSA, and what else? Aston Martin might come back. I don't know. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, Aston Martin are like the most anonymous team because we have no idea what they're doing, if they're going to fix their car or anything. They have no communication whatsoever. No. I think that's that team and Williams to an extent are the two teams that I can't find hope for at the moment because they've just not said anything or done anything.
Yeah, Aston Martin does confuse me a lot with where they're going and what's going on. Probably Williams too, but I don't know.
Yeah, and this is the same Aston Martin that were like predicting to be a top team within 3 years, 4 years, and
it's just gone nowhere near that, though, has it?
I'm not gonna. I know teams have to start if they're gonna get money involved and someone to back them and give them this much funding from whoever higher up is involved, they have to give them some sort of forecast. But they need to stop telling us the forecast because none of Alpine/Renault have been on a charge coming back for like 6 or 7 years or whatever, and they keep saying in 3 years we're coming back, we're going to be a top winning team. And I think just say we will be a top winning team soon. Just don't give us a time. F1 won't be, be that consistent in that many years for you to come up that much. It changes too quickly for that.
I don't think that much of them at the minute at all. I thought that it was more hype around them coming in to do well than it was them actually doing well out of it.
The only hype that came from Aston Martin is the livery, and that's it. Like that's how you know it's just not good when your livery is the only thing that's interesting about your team.
It's a damn good livery, though. Damn good livery. Yeah, it's a shame liveries don't make speed, though, huh?
Exactly. So
adding go faster stripes, a few more, and it'll go.
Yeah, exactly.
Go faster stripes. Man.
Oh, what was that? Oh, another one. I need to mute. Thank you, JD more for the wave. Yeah. You're an absolute legend.
Yeah. I won't say anymore.
Welcome him.
Worse words. I will not. I will leave Aston Martin and
no. Put them under fire. They deserve it.
They do. They do. They do deserve it.
They actually do. Because like, how could you be like predicting these things and just be so terrible in the first race? You can't.
I mean, they copied someone's car and failed with that, and now they tried to do it themselves and failed with that.
I mean, they passed. Actually, they won a race.
Yeah, I'd say that the copy of the car was the best success that team, regardless of name, has had. To be honest, I mean, they did an extremely good job on that, and then had nothing to go off because they couldn't. Yeah,
just loads of point reductions and a nice hefty fine. That was about it, really. But it was good. It was a great car to see, though, and it's good that something like that isn't ever going to happen again, though. With it, just a carbon copy of another car.
Yeah, but the 2020 Racing Point was probably it was a very pretty car.
It was very nice. It really was. It really was a nice car.
I love how we're having to now stretch to. We're talking about old cars being cooked. We're just saying this is a pretty car.
He's getting kicked, dude. He is.
not speed,
he's just being a dick.
Yeah. I think we've said what we had to say. So,
that's it. But hey, thanks for the follow. You are 100. You are follower 103.
And the Haas. I forgot about
Thank you for being here.
We didn't talk much about Haas.
And if you want to get involved in some...
weirdly that. I mean,
the one team that did really, really well in all season. We didn't talk about them. Magnussen getting P5, I believe. And
the team radio after that and the reaction from the team was glorious to see him pull points. Like, because you could genuinely see it meant so much to that team and him in general, just to come back on his first race back for that team, and it's just been like I'd say like he's never left. Like, he wasn't exactly getting points when he left, but the energy was like he'd never left. It was great. Like, he slotted straight back into that team and did a great performance, a fantastic performance.
Yeah, I'm just a fan of seeing them succeed a bit. Like, for whatever, like
they've gone. Really, mate. Gunter Steiner. I'm surprised he ain't bold. Like, genuinely bold. The amount of stress that man must have had within the last 6 months of just obstacle after. Oh, yeah, definitely well on the way. Well on the way, yeah. Definitely accelerated. But he's had a very, very rough journey over the last sort of 3 or 4 months into getting back. Like even with the regulation changes on top of it, they really have had it a lot worse than anybody else. Just with the driver changes, trying to get everything done in time. And they pulled out a fantastic race at Bahrain. They qualified great. They converted it well into the race. P5. What did Mick finish? P12?
I think 12.
Was it?
11.
Yeah, 11. P11. But yeah,
11.
Fantastic all around. I think they did amazing in qualifying. In testing, you saw nothing of them. Nothing. You didn't even probably see a car go around the track like once for one of the laps. Maybe a little catch-up news. The same as Alfa Romeo, yeah, nothing.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Alfa Romeo. Like the 2 teams that did really well, we didn't talk about.
The underdog. It's because they did so well, so crap last season that it's just the reputation going into this year is that we're so used to not talking about them that we just don't talk about them. Yeah.
Bottas' performance was actually underrated, I think.
Sensational performance. Him and Guan Yu Zhou were both following each other, cutting through that grid. From what I mean, his start wasn't great, Bottas. He dropped down for like 5-6 positions back down the grid, but fought his way back very, very, very well, even with his teammate. I thought Alfa had a fantastic race.
Maybe it was the car after all. Who knows?
I'm not going there. I'm not going there.
But no, with Bottas, like, yeah, I feel like he's a rejuvenated Bottas now. I think, obviously, testing, like, we didn't see anything from testing from Alfa Romeo at all. Like, they broke down so many times that I can count with, like, 10 hands. And, like...
Bottas didn't even get out for the first test, did he?
Yeah, even in practice, he didn't even spend time. So, first practice, he was out of it, and then second practice, he only did, like, 5 laps. So, I didn't even expect Bottas. I was expecting Alfa Romeo to be in the mud. And then now
they're not.
They finished 6th and 10th, and it's crazy. And Haas again. I know the Ferrari engine's not really good, and they're just in that position where they're in a nice place. I think Alfa Romeo are probably like 6th best team right now. They're fighting AlphaTauri for the championship in the championship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think AlphaTauri have made a huge step back in terms of last year. They were getting progressively better. Gasly was doing phenomenal things with them. It's the same as any other team. It looks like they've taken a real step back this year.
I feel like they didn't step back. I feel like they've been the same. It's just other teams.
They've gone up a step forward.
Yeah. You reckon?
I think they're roughly where I thought they would have been, but everyone else was just surprised.
I expected to see better, like more though.
I mean, Gasly for that race was fighting Magnussen for 7th for most of that race.
What did he qualify? P10 Gasly, wasn't it?
P10.
Yeah.
And Tsunoda was P16.
16.
Yeah, top of Q1 going out.
Yeah, and Albon beat him in qualifying, and everyone was hyping about that for some weird reason. But yeah,
there was.
Okay. There were people hyping Albon out of Q2, and I'm just like, why?
Yeah, I saw it all over Twitter as well. Like, oh my god, Albon's out of Q2.
Albon's out of Q2. No way.
And then when he went through to Q2, he did 4.
But yeah, no, I think with AlphaTauri, I think they've been exactly the same as they were last year. It's just because Alfa Romeo and Haas have done so well, it's kind of put them in like the backlighting. They're kind of like the background people right at the moment. And because we're hyping them up so well, because Magnussen's right. I mean, if you think about it, if Gasly actually finished, he would have been 8th, and if you take away the 2 Red Bull DNFs, he would have been 6th. So yeah, no. It's. I think AlphaTauri okay. I think they're okay.
I think that
how do you think the new principal of Aston's doing? Oh, Mike Crack or whatever his name is. Do you think? Yeah, do you think he's got stepped up to the plate a bit? I don't.
I mean, the back of the grid.
Yeah, I really don't think they've done anything amazing. I think the new team principal Williams is amazing. The one from the takeover, I think he is incredible. I forgot his name. Oh my god, I literally googled it earlier.
Oh myself now.
Who we talk?
Williams team principal. That's it. Yeah, Jos. He's brilliant.
I like his energy.
His energy is fantastic. The new energy he's brought through to that team, I think it's brilliant. I like him.
Yeah, I mean, Williams were like towards the end of the season, like they were rejuvenated as a team, as they were pretty decent, qualifying at Q2, Q3 most times. With Mike Crack.
Sorry. Yeah, that's a laugh.
With Mike Crack, I think he's okay, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything about him, so I can't really state an opinion about him. I think he's just there.
Like
again, this goes down to the Aston Martin, like just being such a quiet team right now that we don't know anything about them, and no one really cares.
Yeah, I must say I really don't care about how Aston Martin are doing recently. I can't. Even last year, I don't think I was that worried about them. I think I'd like to see Vettel at a different team. I don't think he's. I just don't like that team at the moment. I don't think they're doing very good things. I don't think they're going to go that very far in this season. I think they got a lot of work to do. I want to see it.
They're reminding me of just an Alpine Renault situation, but I just think we talk about Alpine and Renault. I mean, we said before because Fernando Alonso, obviously, you remove Fernando, I think both of those teams are in a sim. I mean, Alpine are better now, but they're in a similar situation, sort of thing. So yeah,
for sure. I mean, like I think Aston Martin are just there. They just exist at the moment. I think maybe once their like positions improve and maybe we see some development over the course of time, which I doubt. Maybe we might see something different, but at the moment in time, they're just there.
I think I have no more points that I can suggest.
I think we have rinsed the maximum amount of Bahrain at that one.
Yeah,
I think it's been a fantastic.
I want to also say we've managed to get through that with. I think we've mentioned porpoising at least, other than just then with me once or twice, which I think is. I'm very glad of. I don't want to hear the word anymore. I hate the buzzwords in F1. I love, but then when I realised they'd been said a billion times, I can't be bothered to hear it anymore. Everything has to link back to it. And I'm like, we can leave it. So thank you all for just like going normal on this one. We waffled too much. We're perfect for this.
I mean, I think we did great as the first one. Like, occasional silence, but it's teething issues, isn't it? I hope everybody enjoyed just listening to us talk WAS for the last 3 hours. What's the title name? Oh, hold on. Chat generally wants me to say. You want me to say it? It is called TPSBTAIFOBTJA. Things people should be talking about in Formula 1, but they just ain't. I nearly messed up.
It was shaky.
See, you can't even say it right.
Go on then.
Yeah, go on, Doug.
Go on, Doug.
Today.
Wait. Let me get it up. Hold on.
Oh, he's gonna have to read it.
Okay, so TPSBTAIFOBTJA.
Yeah. Yes.
There we go. Easy though. All right.
Yeah, that was a good one. So yeah, back again
next Thursday. Yeah.
Unless you want to ask questions, unless you want to give questions to the chat, maybe they have any questions for us.
I mean, go ahead, chat. If you from everyone's chat, I guess I'll speak to you all.
Anyway, yeah, they've sort of dwindled away now. But any questions in chat? What have you got to ask us now? Or any questions you want us to ask in general, if there is any? I think everyone pretty much went all in on the Discord questions while we were live.
Yeah, that's why I got a few added in as well. That's what I was popping through when I was asking you guys.
Make all of your guests say it as fast as possible. I mean, they did. Is Alvis better than Dougie? I mean, not really a question. I'm sure Dougie will have something to say about that, though.
This is not time and place. This is not time and place.
It can be.
No comment.
I will ask one thing as well while we're waiting. Dougie, would you be up for returning in the future to the podcast?
100%.
I feel like it was nice to have that. I mean, and never had a dynamic between me and Dale as well. That was yeah. I'm assuming the people
never know.
Who was watching something like that.
This podcast could become a 3+1. You never know.
In the future.
I could be permanent. I don't know.
Dougie said that to me earlier. If the contract's right, Dougie, you know what I mean. If the money's right,
sign
an undisclosed fee.
Yeah.
Get him in for a 5-year deal. I'd be happy to have him.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll not be permanent. I'll take it.
Watch him just take over the podcast. We just get dropped.
Yeah, but the thing about Dougie is if you don't, it's like having your own personal encyclopedia with you. Because if you don't quite know, you can just go, Dougie, what was it? I need a line. And you can ask him because he knows everything. I must admit, I do not. I don't know anyone that has more of a knowledge about Formula One than Dougie does. As soon as we found out he was coming, everyone found out he was coming on. That was pretty much what everyone said. The first comment that was said was Dougie could probably tell you the bathroom schedule of Fernando Alonso back in 2004, which is probably pretty spot on.
No.
He's got
it was actually between 12 and 7, but
right. So, what are we gonna do here? I'm finished for today. Is Ricardo washed? No, the car's washed.
We actually didn't talk about Ricardo at all.
Oh yeah, I did that as one of my questions. Ricardo to retire at the end of 2022, and we sort of glossed over it really quickly and said no.
I think the COVID's.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I asked it earlier. We sort of glossed over and said no. I don't.
I think if I said no, then I must have been lying because I think he's kind of washed.
Oh, my question was, do you think he would retire at the end of 2022? That was the question. No, it wasn't if he's washed as such, but yeah. Straight to the point. Is Ricciardo washed? I personally think he's had his day. Yeah, I do. In my personal opinion, I think McLaren have bought a stale driver. Yeah, I think he's it. I think they bought a bit of a. It's like when a Chinese Premiership buys like a Premiership player. Go to like the China League when they're all old and washed up, or like the MLS. It's just
honestly, he should have stayed at Alpine. Honestly, I think the McLaren move is just a sideways step because
is Merc going to make a big enough comeback to win the constructors' championship? Brother, it's one race deep. What are you talking about? A big enough comeback?
Second half of the season,
brother. Yeah. If you were asking me that like 15 races into the season, might be a good question, but literally one race into the season.
Yeah, 22 races, they'll make a massive comeback. Huge.
They're massively down. They're going to have to really claw it back through these 20 races we got coming up.
Someone say in my chat they think Danny Rick's he could go to another sport. I've seen this a few times being mentioned.
Hockey.
Has he got a major interest to like professionally compete somewhere else? Or would he just not just do that to...
Well, he likes like MX riding. He does that like a lot, but I don't know if he'd go like... professional in it.
I think he'd go anywhere. But would he not just do like a Kimi? Like Kimi just has a bit of fun, does whatever he wants.
Start racing lawnmowers professionally.
Yeah. He ain't too. I mean, actually, no, he might do that. I'd do that.
Ricardo should go into comedy. He's just so funny. I think he's hilarious. He don't even have to open his mouth and he's funny. Just facial expressions. He brings so much energy to a room in the Formula One. I think he's great. Over like the last 3 or 4 years, like fans' sort of view into Formula One has been drastically expanded by like use of social media, getting more in touch with like the drivers, seeing more behind the scenes with like Grill the Grid and stuff like that. If you roll back like 10 years, we didn't have any of this. Like you never got to see like this much of behind the view. Like so, I believe like these days we get to learn a lot more about the drivers than we used to. So. You build up more of a connection with being a fan of a driver because you end up learning to know a lot more about them, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think it'd be sad to see Daniel Ricciardo if he ever does leave because he's got a lot of energy about him. And he just, I don't know, he's never in a bad mood.
My view, he should have never left Red Bull in 2018. He should have stayed. And also, he should have never left Renault in 2020.
But he did.
But he did, and
he has done that. Yeah.
So he did the two things that I thought would make more sense. If he stayed in Alpine, probably developed the Alpine to make it a better car, would make way more logical sense. But now, because he left Red Bull, went to Renault, left Renault, it shows to me that he just left Red Bull because Verstappen was there. Nothing to do with wanting to build a team. He just left because Verstappen was there. Yeah. In my view,
I also believe he left because Verstappen was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was getting a lot.
The writing was kind of on the wall, but at the same time, he was putting up a fight and doing a good job enough to stay there. But it just shows to me he didn't want to put up a fight, and he was kind of a coward. And that's kind of like the most anti-Ricardo thing
Yeah.
Yeah, these are big words from Dougie there. This is big words.
That's fighting talk, that is, Dougie.
It's true. I mean, it's true. Like, look at it. I mean, if you look at it, he was literally on par with Verstappen for most of that. If anything, he was beating him. And then all of a sudden, he just dipped and went to Renault. I thought he was going to go to Renault to build that team to make it better. Didn't happen. And then dipped that and went to McLaren for no reason. So the way you look at it is like he didn't want to fight Verstappen. He just wanted to do his own thing, which, you know,
just there for the paycheck.
You're just there for the paycheck, yeah. And like, he just wanted to leave that team, no matter what it was, regardless if it was a Renault engine or not. He just wanted to leave Red Bull, and that's just running away from a fight.
I personally believe he thinks he got fisted out of that Monaco podium, or the win at Monaco that time.
2016, but then he won in 18.
Yeah, he got the redemption.
And then that was his last ever win.
Yeah.
Until Monza.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it.
I think so as well.
Yeah. Just
are you continuing, Mr. Nange? With an after stream? Are you going on to play Formula 1 or anything like that?
I don't think I am for the night, unfortunately.
Are we gonna double raid someone then?
I think we should do that.
You pick.
Got anyone in mind? Oh, okay.
You pick.
Shall have a look. You give me a minute and waffle for a second. I've got you.
I'm genuinely waffled out. I mean, I can't look at Dougie anymore the same way after someone mentioned that Matrix thing earlier. It's incredible.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, to be honest.
I didn't until someone said about it.
There's no one ever mentioned this before. Like, it's an idea.
I don't think he's ever had them glasses on.
Yeah, no, I've never had the glasses on. This is the first time.
They're staying on now. They're staying on.
They're a permanent feature.
Oh yeah, you've got to have them on every time now. Every single time. next week, no, I'm wearing a shirt and tie as well.
You're not wearing a tie, you're just wearing glasses.
no, but these are genuine glasses I have to wear. Like, right, I don't wear glasses on stream. I just don't like wearing them. But these are genuinely my glasses that I genuinely have to wear. I just don't wear them because I have to. I'll be doing a lot of reading, and it makes my eyes hurt. So, can I say it again? The Matrix thing? No, I can't. It was a thing at the moment. You had to be there.
I've popped a suggestion for a raid in chat. I don't want to mispronounce
in
his
chat.
Name.
In
chat, sorry, in the Discord.
Yeah. I
don't know what it said. I need someone else to say it, and then I can say it.
Oh, Punju.
Okay, I've been saying it right then. Yes, he's a legend right now. I believe it's his birthday. So
it is his birthday. He's doing a 25-hour stream for his birthday. So nice. We are gonna all hand over and raid Mr. Punju. Then I'm ready to hear when you are. Also, I just want to say a massive thank you to Mr. Dougie Falcons for taking the time out of his day to join us on our very first episode. It was short notice. Yeah, like we only spoke about it literally Monday, and yeah, he come on and yeah, did a fantastic job. Really helped us out. I think he kept the conversation flowing fantastically. Our first podcast for me, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit nervous. I felt like I was struggling a bit at times to say things, but yeah, I think it went great. So thank you very much, Dougie, and thank you very much, Nange, as co-hosting. I think it went fantastically as a first episode.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Dougie, as well. Thanks for being on. Yeah, the dynamic worked perfectly. So I think you did great. Dougie was great. I was alright, I guess. Yeah.
I was the MVP.
I
was struggling to keep him on. We need to pay the big bucks for him.
We're gonna have to speak to HR. We're gonna have to speak to HR about increasing his contract amount.
Right, I'm all ready for the raid. When you are?
I'm literally. It's about to best raid now. Right, in 3, 2, 1. I am ready to raid him. Thank you everybody for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.
See you later.